I can only recognize gain. I mean, this is just great job.
Well, thanks.
Your intention is so obvious.
I really appreciate that. I really, really do. I worked very hard on this.
And it shows. It is incredible. I like, even just down, I'm a noticer. The tape marks under the tripods and everything, just like you're not just haphazardly doing this.
No, well,
great.
If you want, like, I'm a little obsessive. I've gotten to the point where I'm a little obsessive about the product I want to put out. You know what I mean?
Well, why would you put out anything that's not as good as you can make it?
Correct. Like, I've got, let's just start the show, because this is really good conversation.
Sorry, I just like to talk. You're talking to a current and also former podcast host.
Okay.
/ counselor.
All right.
So that's question.
Okay. We are officially started. Joel is lighting his cigar. So, Joel Conwell, welcome to the Sunday Afternoon Smokes Lounge.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you've lit up. You've got that is a Carolina cigar.
Yes, it is Carolina Cigar Company.
Up at the guy's up in Asheville. He owns his own factory in the DR.
I was about to say, I noticed that. Okay, so is he this? Do you get all of your cigars from there?
No.
Okay.
He only sells his own stuff. I've said this before on the podcast, so I won't belabor it unless you really just want to hear the whole story. Because I don't want to bore my listeners that listen to the show, but whatever.
I mean, it's your listener. You do what you want. Yeah, exactly.
His family's been growing tobacco. They started out growing tobacco in this country before it was the U.S., sending burley tobacco back to the U.K.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So this
for
is
pipe tobacco.
Wow.
Yeah. And he now has.
How many generations are we in here?
I'm not really sure.
That's got to be a lot.
He said he still has the original deed from King whoever to the land.
No way.
Yeah. And like, you can go in his shop and see pictures of him as just a guy like this tall in the tobacco field with his father and his grandfather.
Wow.
And now, so he has a plantation and a factory in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
Makes all, so when you go into his store in Asheville, he doesn't sell, Davidoff.
Right.
Yeah. He sells his own stuff, and that's it. And there's no middleman. He distributes his own cigars.
Which is so cool.
So the price is insanely good.
Yeah, it would be super cheap.
Amazingly cheap.
Because you're not getting the markups that you get when you go to, as I look into camera, most of the cigar places that you go to, and they want to charge you $50, $20 a cigar.
Yeah, so there's very little markup on
really
his,
that you charge $25
on his end. And of course, because I run a cigar hospitality service on the cigar box side, you know about the cigar box, yeah? No,
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know we don't. So
that's you. I love that what you love to do is also what you kind of do too, and it's adjacent in the same kind of world. Way to go! Way to maximize things you enjoy.
Yeah. So in my garage, I have a custom built teardrop style cigar trailer, and I do mobile cigar events, weddings, corporate gigs. Yeah. So I buy wholesale.
I didn't know I could think you were cooler than you are.
Well,
I didn't know.
That's too much, man. We've only met like 5 minutes ago. I'm not
sorry.
that cool.
I'm not. I don't flatter. That's too. I'm too lazy to be hyperbolic.
So, and I'll show it to you when we're done, if you want to take a look at it. So I buy wholesale, but then I buy from this guy and no middleman. Like, his cigar prices for me
so
wholesale
fantastic.
are insane. So anyway, I started this podcast in November of 24, was episode 1.
Okay.
Long story short was, I just thought it would be fun to sit down with local entrepreneurs, business professionals, and because I was running, and part of it was, I'm running this mobile cigar hospitality business.
Right. And you know that the best conversations usually happen over a cigar.
Well, there's that, but I meet so many entrepreneurs at markets doing those things. I meet other people, and I'm like, I've done this game long enough. Let's just talk to people. We'll do it over a cigar. Hence, Sunday Afternoon Smokes was born. Fast forward, that was November of 24. Okay. Fast forward to April of 25. You met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So we discovered Easter weekend of 25 that she had a very large aneurysm in her brain.
Great.
They rushed her to Greenville Memorial Hospital. This was Sunday night. Monday morning, they did surgery on her. During surgery, she had a massive stroke. So she's fully disabled now. Her right arm, right leg doesn't work properly. She has trouble talking. She has trouble remembering certain things. She's fully disabled, had to close down her business. She was a local midwife delivering exclusive
that's all
home
her
birth.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit more. I used to just record these shows on my patio out here, and it was like just audio only.
Yeah.
And then I met some people. I got blessed. A friend gave me this camera.
That's a good friend because that's a nice camera.
Yeah. Shout out Josiah Hardline. And she wasn't wild about the idea of me creating a room I could smoke in my house like most wives.
Although it's every man's dream, because that's still a dream of mine that I have.
Okay, well, I'm monologuing here on the podcast very early, but I'm just going to run with it. So we eventually made a trade-off. She wanted a dog for the emotional companionship. I do not like dogs. I'm not a dog person. But I finally gave in because I love her more than my personal preferences.
Amen.
Gave her a dog.
Way to go.
And then she finally was like, look, I want you to have your podcast room.
How long were you guys married before she had her stroke or her aneurysm and surgery?
Well, let's see. We just celebrated 5 years of marriage, so 3.5 years.
Okay. So you married later.
3.5 years, married, 3.5 years stroke.
Wow. And so you're looking at it like, sorry, I'm not trying to come into your podcast, but you're looking at it like, just got married. Okay. We've got the rest of our lives. You know, you're getting married later, but you're looking at it like, this is great. I mean, this is the person I'm going to spend this last part of my life with. This is awesome. And you both have these ideas for what the future is going to look like. She's got her business. And then there you go. There's this aneurysm and a stroke. So one, I just want to highlight you as a husband you're doing an incredible job. You didn't ask for this, but even when I walked in, right, the way your demeanor and the way that you treat your wife it's loving and it's kind, but it's also like, funnily enough, it's like you guys, it's like she hasn't had her stroke or the aneurysm because you talk to her straight. Like I noticed that you're not like, hey babe, hi, yeah. You're just like, hey, what do you want? What would you like? Again, it's interesting to me that I think that to me shows more of you guys' unity you had even before this happened, and the demeanor that you guys had towards each other and the way you would communicate, that like that's not lost on it.
Well, I appreciate. I do. I appreciate it.
You didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for that. That was me. So I apologize.
No, you're good. I talk pretty openly about our situation on my show. She's not a child, so I'm not going to treat her like one.
Right.
Even though she's disabled and she has
Right.
certain like
Limitations,
issues now,
yeah.
she does have certain limitations. Her understanding is good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just some difficulty remembering things in the speech. But anyway, yeah, like she's not a child, so I don't treat her like one. She's
Right.
still an adult. And by the way, she's still my wife. And that position biblically demands and commands love.
Amen.
You know, so
And obvious from the second I saw you guys.
well, that's very kind. Well, and praise the Lord. You
Yep.
know, and I said this on a different podcast, like, and this I think is a good lesson for any husband or any wife, really, like, because marriages are not perfect, because you got two imperfect people put together for the rest of their life. Hopefully, I am divorced and remarried.
Oh, okay.
So, but the primary objective of my marriage when it comes to me is to love my wife.
Amen.
It's not to win arguments. It's not to be right.
Exactly.
It's not to throw around my weight and demand obedience.
Yep.
It's just to love her.
I love that so much.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if I will do that, then I will get the things that I need.
Amen.
That is not rocket science.
You say that, and then you interact with any other guys, and
Well, but see, I've been on the other end of that in my previous marriage.
Really?
Which is not well. It's a downward spiral.
yeah.
I don't. Oh, I know what's missing. I forgot to turn on my smoke. I've got the smoke exhaust, but hang on one second. I'm not even going to edit this out.
I love this. Oh, is that your
There.
Purifier.
Yeah.
It's like so.
So anyway, yeah.
Well,
let me throw this out there, and then we'll go back to the marriage thing.
That's totally fine.
So, and I'll say it now. I mentioned it briefly for the first time in a post on social media the other day. So I have a thing now called the smoking room.
Okay, cool.
Which basically, now that I've built a functioning smoking room in my house that mitigates smoke creep through the rest of the home, because when you walk in my house, you don't smell smoke.
I did not smell smoke at all.
So now I run. I don't have a client yet.
Wait,
it's in the early.
Stop it. Do you build rooms in people's houses?
Essentially. So it's, I don't.
So happy.
I don't.
So happy. I'm so happy.
I do the consulting. I don't do the work because
I'd pay you extra to do the work.
Oh, well, okay. We can figure. So I have 2 tiers. So I come, I take my photos or do my measurements or do the calculations.
Right.
Show you what you need.
Right. How far would it be to run the ventilation?
How much square footage, all the things that we need. And then I can give you the list and you can DIY it and hire your handyman. Or if you want like full man cave design, like I've done in here, because I've picked everything in here.
Right. Great aesthetic.
I'll do that too for the next level. So yes, the smoking room. I have the domain. I have the Instagram handle. I have it.
You have to get the social media.
Yes, I mean I've got. So it's there and it's operational. I just need my first client.
Look,
Joel.
The problem is I'm renting. When I own, it's been a dream. I mean, every guy's dream is to have the wood floors, the leather furniture. My dream is to have the study that I can smoke in. That's like my office.
Yeah.
I want my office to be someplace that if I wanted to, I'll smoke in it. I don't want to have to be like, let me go to my little closet to smoke. I want it to be like, no, like if I am at night and I'm working or I'm doing something and I want to have a drink and a smoke, I'll have it in my office.
Yeah. So there
Every
you go.
guy's dream.
Now you know a guy.
Gosh. This is so cool.
I've got these 3 things that all work in like they're
saying that I have a lot going on. You have a lot going on.
They're the trinity of cigars, right? I've got like the smoking room, Sunday afternoon smokes, the cigar box, and they all revolve around.
That's how you don't get burnt out. I mean, that's how people will say the same thing for me is like, how do you not get burnt out with all the stuff that you do? And I say that it's usually because I'm already using existing energy or time devoted to something for this thing that I'm doing, right? So if it's music, right? I was just in Virginia songwriting from our latest album. It's going to be from First Peter. And
what a book.
It's a great book. It's all about hope and suffering. It's just awesome. I spent all weekend, 10-hour days just writing songs with people about that. But how do I songwrite? Well, it's because I've had this hour or so in my week, every week since 2019, built in it for me and my partner to write. And it's never changed. So it's like I already had an hour of that. Why would I get rid of it? And when it comes to writing actually recording albums, that just means I have to go down on a weekend. That's just a weekend. Like if I need to go down to the studio in Atlanta, I'll go down to the studio and then it's done. Like I don't have to do anything else. Or when it's been stuff like the podcast stuff, it was like, I already have the equipment. I already have some of the time, and I don't have to do all of it. I can have someone else handle some of it for me, or my partner, or whatever. Or like any time it's done, I've added anything into my life, because very similar to you, when it comes to being a husband and a father, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything that was going to take away from the time that I would have with my kids or my wife. Like I won't do that. And so I'm not going to be the dad or the husband that's like, don't worry, honey, I'm going to go do this. And like, it's going to, half the stuff that I do anyway on the side for whatever I do don't make money. Like I don't make money off of my albums.
I know. I was talking to my brother the other day and we're looking at like the amount of fraud that's been perpetrated in like, Minnesota and then New York and in other places. And I said, there's so much money to be made out there, and I'm unable to make any of it.
Yes, exactly. I was like, my friend, someone said it to me the other day, like, you do so much fun stuff. Like, isn't it great? I'm like, it's great. And the fun stuff, I love doing it, but it makes no money. And as a husband and a father who's a sole provider for a family, you always have that tension where you're like, I really love what I'm doing on the side, but it doesn't do anything for me and the bottom line. And so you're like, is it still good? Well, it does fill my soul. It helps me, like it is rewarding and it's joyful. but it doesn't do anything for, you know, I'm not making $1,000 on an album. I'm not making anything on an album.
I make $0 on Sunday afternoon smoke.
Exactly.
This is so recording with you is episode 78, I think.
Congrats.
Thanks, man. And you know, I'm gonna start working a little bit harder. I do want to get some sponsorships for the show. You know, the cigar box is fun. It's more difficult now with taking care of her. So
Right.
to answer your question before we start recording, I'm a full-time caretaker now.
Yeah.
I'm fully disabled.
Right. You have to be.
Yeah, you know, I do pretty much everything around here. She does some things, but virtually I do everything.
Right. You have to.
Which is fine. I'm not complaining. It's just the facts. That's that's how things are. And so like this doing events with the cigar box is more difficult because I just
Who's going to take care of your wife?
I don't like leaving her home for an extended period of time. But a few hours, she's fine.
Yeah.
But like, but this is fun.
Right.
This is enjoyable. And I'm home.
Exactly. You kept it in your house.
Yes.
You're not going to a cigar bar and leaving your wife.
Exactly.
Same thing. You took something you already had and you maximized it.
Exactly. People come to my house. This is in my home. It's high hospitality. And if my wife needs me, she can get me. And they come on my schedule and on my time when it works for me.
I love that.
You know, and so, and then the smoking room, I mean, that's easy. I'll run out, I'll take my photos, take my measurements, come back. I'll do all the calculations, map it out. So I'm trying to make money off of these things. It'll come. It just takes time. Anything worth having
There it is.
takes time to build.
Hey, man, it just sucks along the way, but you're so right. It sucks. It's just tough. I mean, it is. Like, I know you've got all the questions, but like that's me and what I've been trying to build with Stay, you know, the suicide prevention app. Like, it's hard because it's all me. It's very similar to what you're doing. Like, I built the app myself. I built all the website. I got the LLC and the 501c3 all done. I mean, AI helped, but I'm not paying anyone because I don't have the money to just pay a software developer or pay this person to run this. And like, even the people who are helping me, one of the guys, and that's a whole cool story we could talk about at some point, but like my number 2 in Stay is a guy that no longer has a job because he went through a huge health issue, and he used to work in the medical field, and he was like, hey, I don't have a job right now, and I'm fine because my wife works. Like, this will be my job. And I still have to, he has to still get treatments and stuff, but he's like, this is my job. So I'm getting, you know, in quotes, free labor from someone who cares about the mission. But that's the beauty of it is, and exactly what you're saying is like, one, you don't accomplish anything of worth or of note without putting your own sweat equity into it. But then also, two, you also don't accomplish anything of worth or of note without help, which is why I get so frustrated by people who try to gatekeep success. You know, people will be like, well, I'm not going to give you the answer to how to do this because you need to figure it out because I had to. And I always am like, you didn't have to. Someone helped you somewhere. You know, and that's for the same thing for me is like, I will never turn down helping anyone because I know what it's like to be turned down help and how alienating and isolating it is to feel like if the whole time you wanted to start all of this and anytime you asked anyone for help, for advice, for anything, they're like, nah, you can figure it out. It'd be the worst.
Yeah. No, like I said, my now friend, Josiah Hardline, gave me that camera and that lens.
I was about to say, the lens is really nice.
Yeah. Well, and I interviewed another guy, Houston Miller, whose episode is going to go up in a couple of Sundays. Dude, I didn't pull it out, but he gave me another camera.
You're going to have two angles?
I don't know. I don't think this camera is quite as good as that one, but it might work for a second shot up tight.
Of the guest?
Like
That's
when we
smart.
get to something like important, I can just punch you in.
That's smart.
But here's the deal with that. Like, that's more editing time for me.
Oh,
because
no,
I do all of that. I don't like for everybody. Listen, all the shorts I make and put on social media.
That's you.
And I do everything. I don't have a crew.
Riverside. What should you use for your?
I use Async.
Yeah.
Shout out Async. Let's partner. We're friends.
Do they make?
I've already invited you on the show. Let's go.
Do they in their platform make the shorts for you too, or no?
More or less.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but it still takes time.
Yep.
So I upload this file that's like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
And
Yours is long form.
It's a long form podcast, and then I go into their AI and I'm like, okay, let's find the 10 or 12 best moments and it hunts it down.
Yep.
By the way, and this is good if you have the time.
What's wrong?
Nothing is wrong. Nothing. Time out. We're going to get so far into this thing. Nobody knows who you are. Tell us who you are, what you do, whatever you want to say about yourself, and then we'll get back into it.
You're seeing who I am. This is exactly who I am.
Yeah.
I am someone who loves to get to know and honestly celebrate the other people in my life. That's one of my favorite things to do. I think there's some psychological things in there with and we've talked. In your notes to me back was like, my drivenness.
That's all AI.
Yeah, my drivenness of, is it to avoid things or is it just because I'm driven, like part of my personality? Another aspect of that too is like, is my propensity to constantly want to ask other people about their lives and just have them talk and celebrate them. Is it because I am so bad at celebrating my own life? So something I am really bad at. Like I have such a hard time celebrating anything I do. And I think there's a lot there that to unpack later. But I do love it. Like one of the things I love the most about doing podcasting, and I sense the same thing with you in this camaraderie, is to be a really good podcaster, you have to be very good at conversation. And to be very good at conversation, you got to be able to like not just ask good questions, but riff with the people you're with. Meaning if you answer something, be able to go, oh yeah, like I thought about something that happened to me the other day about that. And then it's a conversation. It's not just here's a question and then they answer and you look down to your notes like the next question I was supposed to ask is how's your career? Like, but just you just take interest. But for me, I'm Joel Archeri, Joel Conwell Archeri. The reason why I don't go by Joel Archeri more often than not is because no one knows how to spell my last name. It's Italian. So when I was writing a book, I went by J. Conwell or Joel Conwell because it's a lot easier to do. Yeah, it's better to spell the Conwell. But I'm a husband. I'm a dad. So my wife and I have been married. We'll be 12 years next April. We just celebrated. We celebrated 12. I can't even remember. 12 years. We have 3 kids. We have Lucy. She's 7. Nora is 6, and Edmund is just about to turn 2.
Edmund.
The Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah. I grew up a PK, and I grew up in the church. I was the youngest of 3, and then I thought that I was going to do counseling/ministry. There's a whole story there, the shift from that, and then I went to tech, and I've always loved, and I asked my mom this actually recently. Her and my dad were up here for 4th of July, and I was like, was I always just someone who wanted to do everything? And she was like, yeah, nothing was ever off the table for you, is what she said. She said, you would have, I want to do this, I want to try this. And to her credit, she let me try things. Like there was one time I wore all black all year. I wanted to dress goth, even though I wasn't gothic, but I wore all black and I had guy liner on at one point. I can't believe my mom let me wear that. And she let me do that. And then the next year I wanted to dress preppy, and she was like, dress preppy if you want. But like, she just was so willing to say, yeah, try it. And I think that has stuck with me even now, where I am so opposed to any rigidity. Like, why would you not just try something? You want to do something, doesn't mean you're being impulsive and you don't control yourself, but literally a week ago, I was getting my hair cut because I had long hair and I have naturally like basically black hair. And I was like, I'm getting my hair cut. And I went, do you want to do low lights? Like, you want to just do caramel highlights or whatever? And the guy was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I just did it like on a whim. And it was because I wanted to do it. And I knew it's not going to affect me in work, or my wife's not going to care. And I walked out and I was like, I think I look good. So you don't have to say yes or no. But
it looks good. Well, the thing I admire most, I mean, you've got good hair, man. All my hair is gone, but
you have an amazing
I make
beard.
up for it with my
As
beard.
someone who used to have a big beard, not as big as yours, you have an incredibly, well-kept beard.
Thank you, sir.
But also it looks great on you.
Thank you. So I make up for my lack of hair on top with this beard, but you have good hair, but you have a nice mustache.
It used to be what I did. I used to have the beard, and then on a whim, same thing. On a whim, I was like, I'll just try the mustache. And then my wife bless her heart, it was so funny. She said, you know, I used to think that only Tom Selleck could pull off a mustache, but I think you could do it. And then I was like, done. This is my look from now on.
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not the only one.
In her mind, he was.
Well, what about what's his name?
If you say Jeff Foxworthy, I'm
no, gosh, no. Jeff.
You might be a redneck.
He's got that really deep voice, iconic actor. He used to have like silver hair. Did a lot of westerns.
I know who you're talking about. You mean Tombstone, the actor from Tombstone?
Yes.
We played Wyatt Earp.
No, not him. He played Virgil.
Oh, yes.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, that's the one. Sorry.
The dude's got a banger.
He's got a great mustache.
Gosh, come on.
Virgil?
Yeah. So anyway, all right, cool. So we got the official introduction with Joe Conwell.
Archery, it's okay.
Joel.
Just call him Joel.
Musician, book author, tech guy, developing the app Suicide. We'll talk about all that stuff. So, and I didn't mean to totally just throw off our groove. I feel like the Emperor's New Groove. We just threw off the Emperor's Groove.
Threw off my groove.
Yeah,
great movie.
We're excellent movie. Excellent movie. So, I mean, we were talking about just the time suck of everything.
Yeah.
Like, go in AI, give me the prompts, find me the best moments. And if you exit that episode and open another one and ask you to find the best moments, it'll find different ones. Won't find the same ones.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But then, so you've got to hunt down exactly which section of this one and then format it for vertical and export it. And if you want to add captions.
See, I'm not saying that you should switch, but Riverside does that all for you, and it's pretty great.
No, I mean, well, Async does. I don't know. I'd have to see Riverside in action.
It got better. I used to use it way back when with Theology and Music, and it wasn't that great. And now their AI integration is, I mean, literally, you'll go made for you or whatever. Like, you'll take whatever episode you did, and it will already have 10 example clips with your added branding you can already do with captions and everything. And then you can have stills. You can have horizontal ones that you could put on, like, longer 3 to 4 minute ones that you could put on YouTube rather than shorts. I'm not saying you switch, but that was why I did it again, literally, because when I was starting that Stretch Thin, I was like, I am not going to spend any more time than I need to on this. So when Riverside came out with all those things, I was like, all right, I'll try it, and it saved me so much time.
Yeah.
But that's, once again, time suck.
Yeah, no, it is. But that's the price of making a show.
It's true. And it's all you.
And it's all me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one day it won't be. Maybe I'll just be the guy preparing for the show and actually doing the show.
There you go. And then you
to my team, I'm like, do your thing.
Just find an intern or someone, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
They would just use AI anyway.
That's fine. I don't care. Like, it's just something that I don't have to do anymore.
Yeah, amen.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, man, you've got a lot going on. Where do you want to start this conversation, man?
Where do you want to start? What intrigues you the most?
Honestly, the whole, I find it hard to celebrate anything about my life, and is my insatiable drive, is it, well, what did you call it?
Is it
insatiable drive for what?
Is my insatiable drive because I have to look it back
up.
Well,
it was like, am I avoiding how I feel,
yes,
or am I purposely trying to? I have to go back and look it up.
I'll look it up. That was great.
That's what intrigues me the most.
This was the insatiable drive. Yes, I'm trying to figure out whether my drive comes from purpose, avoidance, or both.
Okay. First question, insatiable drive for what?
Oh, it's in general. I have an insatiable drive. Even though I will say I'm very tired. I mean, sleep was terrible last week because my son was sick and then he bit his tongue, so he had an ulcer. I feel the physical tiredness, but my brain will not stop. And my wife will tell you, if you asked my wife, she would say Joel does not function well unless he has multiple things going on. Because it's not that I'm ADHD or ADD, it's that what the people call it now, it's like, you know how people started like quiet quitting and they always have to come up with a phrase. And the phrase right now is called micro shifting, where you like do a shift of this and then you do a shift of that. That's me.
Why do we do this?
What, come up with phrases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we label everything? It's just like...
You want to know why? Because it makes it's easier. There's no nuance. We want black and white. Nuance is exhausting. Nuance is difficult because nuance means that you have to be a lot more invested in whatever you're thinking about that has nuance. Black and white is easy because then I can go, that's a chair, right? But if you're like, yeah, but what kind of chair is it? Like, whoa, hold on. I don't really want to talk about what kind of chair it is. I just know that it's a chair. It's the same thing. If I can look at someone and say, you're micro shifting, then I don't have to be like, is your drive from purpose or avoidance? You know, I can just say, oh, you're just microshift.
So if I'm hearing you right, in these things, we come up with these little catchphrases or names for whatever. Is it to avoid responsibility?
I think so.
Too much. We can put a name on it, and then I have this problem.
Right. And also, it becomes
like,
outside of you or outside of me.
I'm lazy.
Yeah, whatever you're going to say, I was totally on board with. But yes, yeah.
I mean, really, let's just be.
But outside of the other people too. If I put a label on you, it's outside of me now, especially in relationships, right? Like, if you, let's say with like your wife, you focus on her being disabled. Now she becomes less of your wife, and she's more just a disabled person.
She's worried about that.
But it's
a legitimate worry.
But that's what happens when you focus. Like, it's why when I was getting my master's in counseling, and they were so big on using the DSM-5 for diagnostics, for diagnosing and everything, and when I was starting to get my hours, one of the things they stressed when I was getting my hours for counseling was that you don't get billed insurance unless there's an accompanying diagnosis. So I don't know what it's like now, but back then it was, if you see someone, you have to have a diagnosis for them because insurance isn't just going to pay for you to talk to someone.
What's the phrase we use? Like, tell me it's not about the money without telling me it's not about the money. I mean, it's about the freaking money. Are we trying to help people?
No,
but are we trying to make? And I understand people need to make a living,
right?
But
but I think it's the same thing because once you insert categories, you have to categorize. Like, that's just what happens. And so I think that in counseling world, that was with the diagnosis, and then the problem was, and I even saw this in my own life in just a really annoying situation, but people who have knowledge will often take the categories, throw their knowledge in the categories on those people, and then that's just it. Like, you are now in a category rather than the nuance. You aren't the category that I've put you in. You are a holistic person whose every aspect is tied to something. Like, it's tied to who you are, obviously, as a believer, right? Where it's tied to who we are in the Lord, but every part of us is touches. There's never a part that is in a box separate from itself, right? Yourself.
Yeah. So you're a very driven guy with a desire to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Or many things.
As much as I can.
But the question is, are we trying to avoid, or what are you trying to do? The question is it out of avoidance of my own feelings, of my own, what I feel like is inadequacies? Are you trying to prove something to yourself that I'm worth?
Yeah, could be. Well, so I think a lot of it comes down to too, and I mean, you said it a lot in the notes you sent out before, right? Like, a lot of my past is, so I grew up in the church. I'm the youngest of three in a pastor's home. And when you're a pastor's kid, like, everyone knows you. But also there's another aspect that people don't see. They see the fishbowl side, but they also don't see the fact that, like, you also see everyone else's crap because your parents talk about everyone else's crap at the, maybe not at the dinner table, but my mom and my dad, because, and not having been a pastor now, like you just talk about.
I was a pastor for 12
right.
years.
You can't help but talk about the stuff that you deal with from the people in your church.
Well, this is no different than, Joe who works the machine shop and he comes home and talks.
But the difference is, I, as your son,
Sure,
see all the people you've talked about.
True.
And I'm like, oh, that's Sally. Their marriage is in trouble.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, oh, that's John. He has a drinking problem. Right? And
get it together, John.
well, I'm just, and so as someone, and I think, and I joked about being an observer, I was always just a very observant kid. And so I hyperfixated on that. Like so I'm a noticer. And so my parents would talk about these things. And I think a lot of what I wrestled with when I was younger was like, I was always watching other people, and I wasn't developing as a person myself, right? I was always seeing my relation to others. And I think that was a big reason as to why, like, I wrestled, and I still wrestle with my identity in Christ, because my identity for so long was just like, how does it relate to other people? Right. And that's why you said this in the notes, but I lived two different lives. Right. I got involved with anything promiscuous from a very young age, because that was always a way I could know I was of value. If someone wanted to do something with me sexually, right? If a girl wanted to do something with me sexually or anything, I'm like, all right, she wants me. And if I can make that happen or whatever, that shows that like I accomplished this person wants me. That was like the quick hit of, you're worth something. You have value, see? And I think a big part of that was because I was so prone to look at, the mirror was never of me. It was the mirror of me to someone else. It was just how do we fit together? Not like, who's Joel just on his own,
Have you figured that out? Who Joel is?
Well, I think lately, that's part of the driven stuff, because cards on the table, no one involved. Would you do X, Y, Z? Would I do stay if no one was involved? Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Right? Like, I'm the type, who Joel is. If I have an idea for something, I'm going to do it. I will never be the person who says, oh yeah, I had an idea like that too. Like, I wanted to, oh yeah, you do a podcast, it's great. I always thought about starting a podcast. No. But what's cool though is it's made me able to be, as the Apostle Paul says, like, all things to all men. Like, I've done so much, and I'm only 35. Like, I've been able to do things. It's not go places or have all these experiences. Like, I've been able to say, I'm going to do something and then do it, that I can talk to people at levels that other people can't, not to make me look good, but to connect. And now the connections that I'm having with people aren't to make me feel better and feel worth. It's just enjoying life. Like, it's why I was on this past weekend, I was up writing songs, and one of the songwriters likes anime and manga, and I love anime and manga. And we were just talking about different animes that we liked, and everyone around us was like, all right, nerds, what are you talking about? And we're like, oh, have you seen this anime? Oh yeah, I love that story. And that was one of the highlights of my trip. Not because I got to talk about anime, but I got to connect with someone on something that I really enjoy, that I enjoy. I don't enjoy it for them. I enjoy it. And I was able to be like, oh yeah, we both like this. So I think recently, and it's very recent, I've started to see that who Joel is and who the Lord has wired me to be is someone who looks at life and this opportunity that the Lord has given us to live however long on this world as this incredible opportunity to just go nuts and enjoy it to his glory, also knowing that every step of the way as you enjoy it, that could be something that you can connect to someone else with, and that maybe that's something that the Lord uses to save them. You never know. But we're so wired for connection that everything you enjoy in life is another opportunity for connection.
Yeah.
That was a long tangent for a very short answer.
It's fine. I'm just trying to process some of that stuff. But I think that, we're all wired a little bit differently. We all have different talents,
right,
different abilities. As I said, I was a pastor for 12 years. So podcasting comes naturally to me because 12 years of public speaking.
You're very good at it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
And then I find myself, the more I did this show, I became very interested in people.
Yeah.
Very interested in who they are, what they do, what makes them tick. How did they go from A to B to C to J to L, wherever. Like, how did they get? And so, like, there's some story arcing in the podcast, and then ultimately we land on, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Or what are you offering? But and then just in talking with people I find on the podcast, and you were talking about this earlier, and it's those moments of connections. But the best way I can describe it is, like, if you're in the ocean and they have like the kelp forest.
Yes.
Yes. When you're interviewing on a podcast, it's kind of like, I have these notes that I would like to generally follow.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you might as well just
throw them out the window.
Yeah. But you're just kind of swimming along, and then there will be this, like, crack of light.
Yeah.
Somebody will say something, and I just kind of swim in there.
Exactly.
And then you ask the next question that's a little bit below the surface.
Right.
Instead of just, like you said, well,
here are the questions I wrote down. Yeah. That's a really great story about your family. How's the,
yeah. So you want, and then what you're doing in connecting with people, because we are, I hate to put it this way, but we, people are made for community.
We are wired for that.
Yes. And so I think it will only be revealed in the hereafter, if it actually is, though. But, like, the decisions you made today to do this thing for this person spiritually is going to affect this guy down the road 15 years from now.
Well, like, the community, though, it's you're I know what you probably don't want to say, because it's not always like what people want to hear, but I don't think, this was actually a book idea I've had that I'll probably eventually write. I don't believe that you live the fullest of life unless you are married, kids, grandparent, only because when you get married, you're living it right now. You now no longer have a choice whether or not you get to be selfish or selfless. Like, you got to be selfless, like you are doing right now with your wife. When you have kids, it's even more selfless. You want to sleep tonight? Too bad, your kid's sick and is waking up in the middle of the night. Like, it's just what you're doing. And then as a grandparent, the irony is now in America, it's like grandparents, you get to retire, do whatever you want, and checking in on your kids ever. That was intended, though, was when you become a grandparent, now you're helping serve your kids and the grandkids, so it's even more selfless. But the beauty is, you live so much better when you are forced to be selfless than when you have the opportunity whenever you want to be selfish or selfless. It's like when someone wants to come over to someone's house, they're trying to make plans with someone that's a married couple and a married couple with kids. And the married couple with kids goes like it's just so hard to get any time with them or whatever. And it's so easy for them to think so much about their little world. Whereas this married couple with kids, their entire life is just a selfless cycle of, like, yeah, how can I love my family? How can I love my kids? But, like, you are a much better person when you are now less selfish. And I've loved that. I've loved that as I've gotten, like, I don't wrestle with being as selfish as I used to be when I was younger, because I'm a husband and I'm a father. And I think I know I'm a better friend and a better community. Like, you're talking about engaging with your community. You're a better person in the community that you're with when you're forced to be selfless.
Yeah, marriage and children, they will do that to you. It forces you to look after the needs of other people and not after your own needs. And I mean, I'm the guy, like, take your kids with you. Like, you don't have to, but I can't do it because I got kids. Yes, you can. Take them with you.
Exactly.
Let your kids experience X, Y, and Z. And when people come to my house, like I told you, like, my wife, the midwife, and she has lots of clients with little kids, and sometimes they come visit, and, like, the wives or whatever are so apologetic about their kids getting into this. And my thing is always this, like,
their kids.
I have 4 kids. I've been where you are. Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine.
I don't care.
Yes.
I'm the guy, I don't really care. To be honest with you, Joel, I don't care about much. I mean, I have strong opinions about Bible,
Amen.
and that's about it.
Love
I
it.
mean, I really don't care about stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care about things.
Yeah.
I don't like my wife. And I don't know if it's a woman thing. And I'm sure there are guys like this. She has a lot of things that are very sentimental to her.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's fine.
Right.
But like you, there's probably in this house one item that if it was messed up, I would be.
Now I want to know what it is.
It's the shotgun that my dad gave me.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was, if I'm not mistaken, that shotgun was his father's shotgun.
Sweet. So
He
passed
would
down.
go hunting with when he was a boy.
That's so cool.
That one I would
Yes,
be,
of course.
I would be upset about.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like, I don't know, if my kid spilled a cup of coffee on my laptop, I'd be like, I'd be irritated. But if like it would, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I'll get another one.
Right. It's a laptop.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's replaceable.
Bro, that's
People are not.
amen. Amen.
Things are replaceable. People are not. There's not where, and I don't know. I'm a guy that I really don't get upset about much because ultimately it doesn't matter.
No, we can't take it.
Doesn't matter.
That's why, to me, this is such a tangent, but I love cars, and my dream is to have a lot of cars because I love I love driving, and I always get so upset when I see cars like fun sports cars, supercars, hypercars, or whatever, that people are like they never drive. I'm like, why would you get an amazing car and never drive it? And if your fear is that you're going to break it, well, then never get it.
Yeah.
Like it's like getting an expensive watch or an expensive shirt. Would you have to live, but life is so beautiful when you live it to the as much as the extent as you can, right? And so why not get if I could, I would get a motorcycle, but my wife will not let me because my great uncle died in a motorcycle accident that was not his fault. He was at a stoplight, got sandwiched in between another car, and so she's like, if I could know that you would never get in an accident because you kept yourself from it, I'd be fine. So that's why my dream is to eventually get a convertible. Because I think that's the closest you can get to a motorcycle.
That's a nice compromise.
Which is the closest you can get to freedom. Like, it's just so fun driving with a convertible, feeling the air. Like, the fact that the Lord somehow gave this person an idea to make a car that then turned into a convertible, that's just like, it's so cool. Why not get one?
Yeah, so that bottle of Michter's right there, you can't really see it, but it's signed by, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but it's signed by the master of maturation at Michter's. First female to ever be inducted to the Bourbon Hall of Fame.
Wow.
There's a lot of people that would say that bottle should never be drank.
Because it's worth so much.
And I'm like, bourbon is meant to be enjoyed.
Right.
Why would I not drink it? And besides, it's just somebody's name on a bottle.
I know.
Like, just
I know.
drink
Don't
the
touch it.
bourbon.
It's a collector's thing. I'm like, what do you mean?
I don't understand. Like, God made, read Ecclesiastes. Solomon says that there's nothing better than that a man should enjoy the fruit of his labor.
Exactly.
And of course, all in the honor
Yes.
to God.
But to enjoy life.
Yes.
Why would you ever decide? Why would you say, you've got 24 hours in a day, most of it's spent sleeping, and you go, I'm going to do it. I'm going to live it doing nothing and being miserable. Like, you're telling me that you have been given, like, even just your body too. Like, you have this incredible body that can grow and can change and can strengthen and can weaken and can do all these things, and you do nothing with it. I'm not saying you have to go run a marathon. I'm not saying you have to do whatever, but like to never.
I'm not running a marathon.
but to not like, so I am not. There are some people who love fitness. I am not a fitness person. I coach CrossFit. I do CrossFit, and I lift weights. And I lift weights though because I'm like, it's so cool to me that a body could say you can grow your body to lift. Like my goal is to get 400 pounds in a back squat. I'm not there yet. But that your body could objectively lift down and up 400 pounds or deadlift 500 pounds. And like the Lord could made your body to develop in a way to make that happen. Like so to me, going back to a lot of who I am, I thought to myself was like, why not try to do that? If I could get my body there within reason, without hurting myself, why not try? To then be able to say, like, I did that, not to say, like, I'd once deadlifted 500 pounds, to be that guy that says that all the time, but to be like, yeah, I put in the work, I got it done, and I got to do that with the body that I was given.
Yeah.
Like, that's living to me.
Yeah, sure.
So,
on a quick tangent, I think Samson was probably looked like Captain America in the movie.
Oh, yeah, like he was probably so jacked.
No. Before he went
before?
Yeah.
You think he was just
I think he was just a normal-looking dude.
But he was super strong.
Yeah, because the point of, like, Samson, God empowered him with great strength to do these things.
Right.
But
you don't think he gave him, like, big muscles?
No, exactly, because then everybody's going to say...
Well, it was really the Lord. Because, you have big muscles.
Yeah,
like
wow, look what this guy's made. Like, he was Arnold in his prime. Right. It would make sense. But... for a guy,
Delilah,
don't
cut my hair, Delilah, please.
Yeah, that's a bomb in there.
No, don't do it.
But for a guy that's just a regular Joe,
right,
to have this,
that's actually a pretty cool idea.
It had to be. And God gets all his glory.
Amen to that.
Random tangent.
Sorry,
but anyway, all right. Like I love talking.
Guide us somewhere. Come on.
Yeah,
Chris.
let's get otherwise we're gonna spend 2 hours just at random. By the way, before we get on the real train to nowhere, do you want more rum?
I mean,
it's up to you.
Would you? Well, you're gonna get up and get me more? You don't have to do that. But you're like recording a podcast. You can't.
That's why we have editing software.
That's fair.
Like async.
Cut out this moment where I get
we will cut out this.
No. All right. I'm good.
You good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
If you're gonna have another eventually.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I will. We'll see. All right. So let's cover a couple of things. I don't know. Let's start. You are because it starts with A. You're an author.
Yes.
Published a few. Are they children's books?
One children's book, one corporate culture book.
What's corporate culture book for?
So that was it's basically how to play the corporate game without being a jerk. That whole idea.
Is that the name of the book?
I wish it was. I didn't. I was really upset.
That would be a fantastic.
Actually, it was supposed to be. I would change, if I ever republished it, I would republish it as how to play the corporate game without being a douche.
What's the actual name?
You're missing X Factor, how 5 minutes could change your life. I know.
Yeah, who came up with that?
Me. It was me. It was my fault. I really should have done the other one. But anyway.
Dude, yeah, the other one's a killer title.
I'll republish it as that. But that came about because, so I left ministry and I get into corporate America and I'm like, it's basically the same thing. I'm like, people all have the same issues. They don't know how to, it's all facades. They're all acting a certain way. And then they're wrestling against a system in corporate America or corporate in general. And they don't know how to relate to anyone. They don't know how to relate to each other. And I'm like, why is it that I enter into corporate America as a 28, 29-year-old and people are like, I like working with you. And I'm like, do you have someone who's 20 years older than me, has 20 years of experience, and you would rather work with me? And it's just because I knew how to relate to people. And I was like, so what is it? And so I came up with, were you going to say something? So fine.
Well, I'll save it. Go ahead.
Well, I came up with this idea that you need to be able to be winsome in the way that you interact with people and the way that you talk. And the way that you do that is to utilize the 3 of the most attractive attributes. Because there's a psychological term called sonder, which is this reality that you kind of happen upon of, oh, wow, every person that's living life is living just as vividly of his life that I am. Meaning, like, when you and I are done, I go home and you realize you're like, he's going to go home. Like, he's going to have the same kind of like go home after this podcast. He has his own life, but just as much as your life is vivid with your wife who has limitations and she's disabled and you have kids and you have a former marriage, like your life is the sum of all the experiences you've had. It's super vivid. You have that. I have that. Random person on the road who ran the stop sign has that. That person who cut you off has that. That person who's ordering a venti latte has that. Like everyone has that. And when you realize that, you're like, okay, so then how do I get you who's living your own vivid life to even want to care about my life? Like what I have to bring, who I am, you know, and in a world that's so attention seeking, how do you compete with that? And so I came up with this idea called mantra statement, which is a statement about who you are that utilizes the three most attractive attributes in people, which is positivity, certainty, positivity, and altruism. Because usually go towards the negative. You never want to be around someone who flip-flops because you never know where you're going to be. Like do you like this or you don't? You want to do this now or you don't? Like, oh, you're now going to be a carpenter or now you're going to be an engineer. Like, what are you going to do? You don't like that. We want certainty. We want security in our life. We want positive people. Anyone who, like people who are negative just completely drive us insane, right? If you're around someone and everything's always someone else's fault, something's an issue, there's no joy in their life, you never want to be around them. And then altruism. People who are selfish, I don't feel like I have to explain that. Like if you know at the end of the day that person's only going to go for themselves and they'll use you for that, you'll never be around them. So the opposite, certain, positive, and altruistic. And so I developed this kind of way to make a statement about who you are that utilizes those that you could use in an interview, you could use in networking, you could use it just to tell people. And so my mantra statement about myself is that I am someone who is energized by being a refreshment to everyone in every interaction. I never want to bring anyone down. I want to build people up, and I want people thinking like, I just can't wait to talk to Joel again. And like, that's my mantra statement. And I use that often to some variation anytime I've interviewed because so I am the youngest of three. My sister and my brother are both higher level people in tech. My brother's a high level sales guy at Google. My sister's now a VP at another tech company. And they had 10 to 15 years of corporate experience before I even entered corporate America. And I thought about that and I thought, okay, if you stacked me up against them resume wise, I'd lose 10 times out of 10. Like, who's this guy? He's a pastor. Get him out of here. I want this person.
So I'm so curious about that journey just because I was a pastor for 12 years, resigned, moved to South Carolina from Southern California.
Oh, wow.
And
that's a move.
A small one. Yeah. And
that was good. That was good.
Then I've said this to other people, like I don't think, quote unquote, the world understands what pastoring is.
They don't.
When they look at a resume on a guy who's a pastor, they don't have any use for you because they don't think you have any skills. But being a pastor of a church is people management.
You're a CEO of a company.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like I'm a little bit fascinated as to how you got into the tech world. So my story is really bizarre. So as far as I've kind of reinvented myself professionally, but not really because I have this show that makes me no money and I do this small time cigar hospitality thing that makes
you really reinvent
very little money. I know. Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks, man. I'm really crushing it.
Rolling in it right now.
Oh my God. But it like I struggled to find work. You know what I mean? I do. You know what I mean? So it's like, how did it, I have so many things running through my head right now. I'm trying not to rabbit trail, but
totally fine.
Part of it is like, I heard everything you say. And in my mind, I just feel like we live in such a overly sensitive world with a bunch of people who, I don't know, they just need to be put in rooms with padded walls. And because I just want to say, like, just be kind.
No, I know.
Just be kind to people. It's not hard.
It's not, and it's not, and that's what I was like. The cool thing about, and I'll go. Don't worry, I'll go back to like how I came into tech. The cool thing about the whole mantra statement thing that I would always tell people was, it's not putting your experience up against someone else's. It's just putting who you are against who someone else is. And if I can help you be better about talking about who you are, you'll win.
Yeah.
And I actually, just like from doing that, I had people get bigger salaries, get interviews, get jobs, because I was just like, look, I'm just going to be very good at talking about who I am. I'll be better than that person. And if I can do that and win you over that way, I would always joke. I was like, give me your resume. I could interview for you if I had your mantra statement. Because like, if you just know how to talk about yourself, and I would do it, and people would be like, interview would say, tell me about yourself. And I would throw that mantra statement. And immediately, because it's just ambiguous enough, but also specific enough that you're like, I want to know more about that. What do you mean, like being a refreshment? And I would tell people, because as an author, as a writer, as a storyteller, as a pastor who's good at speaking, I would say, here's my mantra, and I would go, I want to be a refreshment. And it makes me think about when I was at Cisco, the company I was like, let's say it's Cisco, and when I was doing project management. So now I'm talking about my experience, but it's all under the umbrella of who I am.
Yeah.
So now my experience has more weight because it's tied to who I am. And you're now already started to be a little bit more invested in who I am than the other person who interviewed. And so now you're like, okay, I kind of want to know you, Joel. And then you're like, I like him. I want to talk to him again. And so then you get another interview. And then now, who cares what your experience is? If you can just relate it in a better way and explain who you are, like that's so. But I didn't get there until I left ministry. And I left ministry. You resigned. I was fired. So what's worse? I don't know.
Well, the outcome's the same.
Yeah, it's the outcome's the same. And it was rough. I was in school I was getting my bachelor's in counseling, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a psychologist. I'm gonna get my like psych degree, right? I was gonna do doctorate. And then I met my wife, and I was like, okay, I want to get married. Like I cannot think of my life without this woman. And so we got married, and I finished my undergrad, and I had to think like, all right, well, we're both young, poor, and married. And in Virginia, which we talked about this last night, those were some of my favorite moments because all we had was each other. And I was like, amazing.
Well, I want to say this because I've said it I don't know that I've ever said it on camera, but by the way, there's never a good time to get married.
No, get married.
Yeah, there's never a good time. You don't ever have enough money.
Do it.
There's never a good time to have children.
No, just do it.
You're never going to have enough money. There's never a good time to buy a house. You're never going to have enough money. However, that doesn't mean there are certain decisions that there's never a good time to get married, but there's a bad time.
That's true.
There's never a good time to have kids, but there's a bad time.
There's a good time. Yeah, house, but a bad time.
Absolute discernment.
Yes.
Sorry to hijack.
No, you're good.
Just a little point of
but
wisdom.
like it was some of the sweetest moments because all we had was each other, right? Like we lived in a tiny apartment. We both worked odd. She worked as a Chick-fil-A shift manager. I was an assistant manager at a Plato's Closet, and I was like, it was great. It was so fun.
But you were happy.
Yes,
See,
because we had each other, but I had to make a decision then about counseling, and I was like, okay. In Virginia, you couldn't get paid for your counseling hours like you can here in South Carolina, even when you're not having a license. In Virginia, you couldn't. So I would have had to work 40 hours a week unpaid.
Sweet.
While she was working, but that we wouldn't have enough even then. So I was like, so I basically have to I can't do that. I can't get my license. That's why a lot of women are counselors because they get their hours unpaid while their husbands work because they're used to them being sole providers anyway. And it was really difficult. And so I was like, I guess I'm not going to do counseling in that way, like a license. I'll still get my master's, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I'd been going to this church since I was in college. They needed a music pastor and someone who had counseling experience. And so I came in as like an associate pastor, very young, and it was not a good situation because it was a church that had been growing and was becoming a mega church. And like, I'm not going to throw any disparaging comments on them. But the lead pastor and the executive pastor, it just wasn't good. There was definitely a hierarchy towards the younger pastors, and there was a way that they interacted with us that I don't believe was healthy. And at one point, because now I'm starting to have kids, and I'm not making a lot. You're a pastor. I have school debt. I have all this kind of debt, and I'm going.
You mean pastors don't do it for the money?
They do it for Jesus. I was like, I got to make money. Like, I got to make more money. And all I know is pastoring. And my dad was a pastor in a denomination up in the north in Pennsylvania. But he said, hey, there's this job. They need basically an executive pastor of music and counseling and all this. And I think they'll pay well. You should look for it. And I was like, at that point, I was so done. I was done. I was already seeing this incongruence in the church of like, okay, you say that you care about me, and the lead pastor would say, like, I really hate that you're in debt and it keeps me up at night, and I hate that. I'm like, so then, but I know you can pay me more, but you've said I'm not going to pay this position more. So then, like, why can't I get a different, like, it's just the spiritual umbrella that would be thrown on just basic business decisions that would cloud it, right? And even then I could see it. And so I was so angry and resentful already. And so when there was an opportunity to dip, right? I took that so fast, even though it probably wasn't the best decision. And I went up to this church in Delaware to try to be a part of revitalizing it and turning the corner of its journey during COVID in the North.
Super smart.
Great decision. I would advise 10 out of 10. And it wasn't good. I think a big part was they eventually got buyer's remorse for me because I think it was more problem than I was help, even though I did have a lot of help, but there was an older population that was like, it's too many changes too soon. And so they latched on to some things in my past that they knew about, but they kind of used it as a way to say, like, we don't think that he's really qualified. We think that we need to part ways. And it turned into a rough situation because then I, as a result, young, have a family, I'm super hurt. And so people start reaching out and they're like, what happened? And I don't handle it well. I kind of throw disparaging comments towards the leadership and the elders. And so then they, not the greatest move, you could say, they, as a result, go on a service on a Sunday and on a live stream and basically just lay out all of my deepest, darkest sins to basically be like, see? And, I will disagree they shouldn't have done it, but also I made them have to play that hand because I was not being gracious in defeat.
I would have cut the live stream though.
It was because it was during COVID. So like,
okay.
They had a members meeting on.
Yeah, you feel like you forced them into it though.
A little bit. I wasn't being gracious.
Yeah,
in my leaving, and so they did that, which I still know is incredibly traumatic because I watched it all happen from home.
Oh my gosh, that's so brutal.
And then when my church in Virginia gets word of it that I'm being fired, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then they're like, "Did you know this about his past?" They say they didn't. Once again, I'm not here because it's in the past. I'm not gonna be like, those terrible people, I told them. I know I told them, but it's fine. It's whatever. So they say they didn't know. And so they rescind my ordination and say, like, we'll walk with you through this with counseling and stuff. But what they didn't tell me was that their expectation was that I would move back to Virginia for that to happen. I'm in Delaware. So I'm in Delaware. I have now lost any future in ministry because the last church I'm a part of just fired me, and the recent church, the past church before that, rescinded my ordination. So none of them are going to say, if they ever got called, yeah, he should totally be your pastor. So I've lost, and like literally, the only thing that I've ever known as far as work goes of whatever a future would be, not that I felt like I was called to be a pastor for the rest of my life. Like that was gone, literally just gone. It's like, it'd be as if an entire half of your house was just gone, and you're like, you just have to deal with it now. Like you can't, there's nothing you can do.
I know what that's like.
Yeah. And so I went, I have no idea what I'm supposed to, I was out of options.
That's where my identity problems came from. Because I was a pastor for, and I talked about this in another episode, I think, but I was a pastor for 12 years and I loved it, man. I loved pastoring. Yeah. I loved teaching and preaching. And then resigned and moved to South Carolina for a multitude of reasons, and then with her divorce. Oh. And I know there's sadly, I know there's a lot of different opinions on there about divorce and then pastoring after divorce.
Yeah.
And I just ultimately came down to I shouldn't do something I want to do just because I want to do it.
It's so hard. Yeah.
And I read all of the opinions, man.
Yeah.
I read all the opinions. I read all the commentaries. I've read the people online. And ultimately, I came down to it really doesn't matter what they say. It matters how God convicts me.
Right.
Here,
Yeah.
Out of 1 Timothy 3 and Titus.
And if a
3,
body wanted you, knowing everything that happened,
I told the Lord in prayer. I said, Lord, I will not do this unless you dump it in my lap.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
well, I've done the opposite. I've said I'm never going. I said I'll do part-time. I will never go back into full-time ministry, mainly because of what I saw as a result of all of that was this propping up of the institution of the church that really ultimately just was a business with a spiritual, like, paint job. It's what it was. It was a bunch of guys, a bunch of men who, called or not, were operating in a way that was really just a business, but they added the spiritual side, and it was so hard because it was so. I think it was not a. Some people want to say spiritual abuse. It was so confusing for a young person who's grown up in the church and it's like, okay, so you're supposed to be this, but like objectively, you did not handle this right. And so but you're the elders and you're the pastor and you're the church.
Okay. Now we're getting into really good conversation.
I mean, let's go.
Sometimes it takes a while, but
no, everything up to this point
I didn't mean
was terrible.
I don't mean any offense to that.
Hey, Async, can you use AI to get rid of the entirety of the? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
A couple of questions. Number one, do you still go to church?
Yeah, I'm a member.
Okay, great.
The church, God did not intend the church to be like that. God's intention of the church was not that. Therefore, I could never look at the church itself and go, I will never be a part of a church ever again, just because one group sinned.
Sure, yeah.
So the bride is not that.
Okay, agreed. And look, like 2026 American church is not first century church in Israel.
Yes.
For a whole host of reasons.
Right.
Like the way, and part of it is the stupid government, right? And if you're going to have a church, then eventually you're going to have to become a 501c3.
Yep.
And you can have a church in your house, but because of zoning laws and fire laws, and you can't have too many people congregating in this one spot, you might wind up with multiple house meetings, and it's confusing. And so I understand why we have buildings and a place for the church to congregate, and for people who are listening who are maybe you're not a Christian, you don't understand, biblical theology. The church is not a building. The church is the people.
Yes.
So we had this. So the church has to operate for the government as a business,
right?
In some regard,
true,
but the church is not a business,
right?
And so it gets sloppy. It gets messy, and then we wind up with stupid things like. This is just my opinion. Music pastors. There's no such thing as a music pastor in the Bible.
How's it going?
There's, executive pastor. There's no such thing as an executive.
That executive pastor has to handle the business aspects of the business.
Whatever.
And staff.
There's no such thing as staff.
That's what, you get that.
Yeah.
And the problem, and here's another reason why someone would look at you.
I understand.
If someone would look at you and go, you shouldn't be a pastor because you got through a divorce, and even though everything, you're living a repentant life and living for the Lord, and but sorry, you were divorced. It's because we prop up the position of pastor as this penultimate position that can never be marred by anything, which I'm like, do you mean to tell me that the pastor never sins? And then now we create a scenario where the pastor can't sin or can't.
Well, but to be fair, there are certain qualifications that must be met in 1 Timothy 3.
Yes, very true.
Titus 3.
Yes, and in Peter. Yeah.
So do you feel like the church has gone towards the corruption of, say, the Old Testament temple?
Oh, wow.
Like the temple? Because you would have, like in the temple, Jesus, he goes and he flips over all the tables. He's really just PO'd.
Yeah.
They've made it a den of thieves. Like you would bring your sacrifice. You'd bring your sacrificial animal, but you can't just bring the sacrifice. Right. It would be inspected by the
to see what kind it would be.
Oh, no, this one has a problem. you have to buy one of ours.
Right.
And you're going to pay them.
Dude,
and they're going to take your sheep or your ram or whatever it is you're offering. And they're just going to put it in with all the others and sell it to some other dude. They're just ripping people off.
Oh, yeah. No. Yes.
So
Yeah.
like, do you...
It's such
like,
a good question.
The church, like... The world is full of nothing but sinful people, and so churches can be problematic because it's full of sinners.
Yes.
But, and so how do you feel about that?
So for me, the way that I land is even the church I go to, that I'm a member at, the system that I'm a part of, I already disagree with, very similar to what you're saying, because it's not like... It's not what it was intended to be. It's because it's not, I'm not saying it has to be Israel's the way they did in the first century, the first version of the church. But it is, though, like every new position, everything you add on to it. Like I can't ultimately be upset with a system that is inherently flawed to begin with. And if it doesn't work well, because I'm like, well, it hasn't started well. But like, does that mean I need to be a part of a house church? Like, I don't want to be. Like,
well, look,
so I'm okay with what I'm at.
Well, let me rephrase. When I said that the American Church 2026 is not the Church of Israel in the first century, I didn't mean that we're not the church.
No, I know what you meant, but like the pastor, worship pastor, and executive pastor, and children's director.
Right. The way the church is structured in America is very corporatized.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's become that. And so you're not going to find any other version no matter where you look. And so, and now and this was another thing that I started to realize too, was like, it's just preference. It's not precedent anymore. It's just preference.
Well, and look, to be fair, let me just make it clear. Like, if you are a Christian and you attend a house church and your church is large enough and y'all meet in like 8 different houses at various times through the week and the pastor comes and visits everybody, or the multiple pastors, that is correct. Yeah. If you're part of a church that has a building and y'all meet at the corner of Johnson and 7th Street, that is also correct.
Right.
So like, there's no,
and I'm not saying if you have a worship pastor or an executive pastor or a children's director, you're not a church, or like you shouldn't exist or anything. It's not that, but it's if it's different than what would ultimately be the best that you could be, which would be to not have those things, right? Because it would just be people serving, not in offices that are paid positions. That's why for me, I look at pastors and I'm like, I like it when pastors are bivocational, because I like it when a pastor. And some people disagree, even my pastor and I disagree on this. I like having my pastor have a boss to remind him that, like, you're not all that's cracked up to be. And I think the hard part is oftentimes pastors, for better or for worse, when they get into these positions, because either the church props them up as like, oh, you're pastor, like you are like you now have ascended to a level of like, yes, authority, because the Lord has called you to shepherd the flock, and also to give you the opportunity to unpack scriptures, hopefully well, but you are no different than the other person in the pew.
You're a sheep in the flock, bro.
Right. Like, but the problem is that because of how the American church is, you create, and we often will, like, a lot of people in a lot of more of the reform places would be like, celebrity pastors are terrible. And I'm like, you're doing the same thing with John Piper and John MacArthur, and well, now he's dead, but like, all these big name pastors, but you're doing the same thing. Even in a lot of churches where they make the pastor like, yeah, I love Reverend blank. I'm like, you've made him a celebrity in your mind. Instead of being like, yeah, like, we just preach the Bible and it's good and I like to hear it and it's great, and and he does a fine job, but it's not like I go for Pastor Matt. Like,
well, that was one of Paul's contentions against the church at Corinth.
Yeah.
He's like,
Paul.
Yeah. Some say you're of Apollos, some say you're of Peter, like, you should be of Christ.
Well, this is why people people get mad at me, because I'm not contentious in this way, but if someone sends me a clip from their pastor, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. Like, why? Like, why? Well, it's a good message. Okay. Why don't you just tell me what he preached on, and you tell me why it was impactful to you and why you think it would help me in my life. Don't just send me a clip from your pastor and be like, this is a great message, you should hear it. I'm like, that's Apollos Paul kind of thing to me. And I don't want anyone ever to do that with me. Like, I don't want, if when I was a pastor, and I hated it music wise, I hated when I was leaving that church in Virginia and I was going up to Delaware and I became like a LeBron James free agent, and I had churches like talking to me to try to pitch their church for me to come to them. Because there's a few things, Chris, that I will boast on and like unashamedly boast. I'm a very good CrossFit coach, like one of the better CrossFit coaches you'll ever have. And I am a very, very good worship music leader, because I not only am gifted musically, I have a great voice, I'm good at leading a band, but I also can shepherd the church through scripture as well, through song. It's not just like
You don't have any problem celebrating yourself, bro.
No. There's like only a few areas. The rest of the
The rest is trash.
The rest I like wrestle with hating myself. But the problem was, during that time, I had people like that had worship pastors. Pastors were asking me like, "Hey, would you come like guest lead? We'd love to, like, would you be interested?" I'm like, "You have a person," but they just weren't as dynamic. And I'm going, that's what I'm talking about. It's that, well, if we just got a better blank, or if the preaching is just this much better, we could grow, or we could blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you've already got it twisted in the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, look.
Sorry, we've gone on a big tangent.
No, dude, this is my jam. I love the Bible. I love Jesus. I love Christianity. We want the church to grow.
Yes.
But the church should not grow by swapping sheep. The church should grow by converting sinners to Christianity.
Exactly.
Okay. The goal of the church, first and foremost, is to worship and glorify Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
And that does not happen because you have an awesome worship leader. That happens because people's hearts are tender towards God.
Yes. And also,
and because they're obedient to the scripture.
Right. And it's not just because the pastor is really good at preaching too.
No.
Because if you rely, look, but here's the problem. If every Sunday your entire church, the flock of your church, your whole body was like essentially reliant on you as the pastor to help them and fill them up and get like reignite everything, like Paul would say, that's
a problem.
Jesus,
I should be relying on the Holy Spirit,
right? But you're basically like limping to Sunday spiritually until Chris gives another great message, because he's such a good pastor and he's really good and he like gets the emotional tie, but also has the depth of theology and the knowledge. Like, there's no one like Chris. What about like your brother that's in your small group? Like, they have just as much value to give you in the community that you would have. But that was the problem. So anyway, we came down, we moved down, we immediately we found a church it was a bigger church. It was a local church that has a lot of campuses, but we came because we had relatives that went there, her sister, and they liked it. It was fine. But it really was, I wanted to go to a big enough church that I would not be tempted to be asked to immediately step in. This wasn't like, look at me, they're going to want me to play. Like, you go to a small church that needs a good worship, anyone who's good music, they're going to be like, you led music, like, you're good, okay, can you play? I didn't want that. I needed time to heal.
Yeah.
I needed to work through church hurt.
Dude, church was hard for me for a long time.
Yeah.
After I resigned. Church was hard for me after I went through a divorce. After I resigned, immediately it was like,
you breathed.
Yeah, dude, people don't understand the weight of, like, because I did 3 sermons a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, for 12 years.
Oh, wow. You Presbyterian?
I'm independent fundamental Baptist.
Oh, wow. Even more so. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Wednesday night, Sunday night.
No.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So people don't understand the weight of to develop
week in and week out.
Dude, it is a grind. And so after 12 years of that, it was like, I can just rest.
And then a bomb was dropped on you.
And then I went through the divorce. I don't want to go into a whole lot of that. You don't need to get, like, I'm not shocked. I understand why it happened. I'm beyond all of that now. But then after the divorce, you'll never pastor again.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so broken.
Yeah.
On the inside, and going to church for a long time was hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because number one, I wanted to be the guy preaching.
Right.
And number two, the guy preaching is an idiot. You don't know what you're saying. You're butcher. I'm not going to list the church.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
you don't say
Yeah.
so for yourself, Mr. Bostad.
I know. Like, you're taking this passage out of context. You read a passage and you haven't even talked about anything from the passage the whole time you've been preaching. You don't know, like, you're hurting people with the word of God.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so my wife, we would go to church and she would hate going to church because she knew I was going to have a bad attitude.
Right.
And it hurt her. And I finally got over that and learned to just, okay, I need to let God be God and me just learn and heal and find good things in the sermon.
Exactly.
Even if I think the guy's a schmo. Like, and I finally am there and I joined this. So I go to Connection Fellowship in Powdersville. It's a small church.
Nice.
I play the drums there now, which is a wild,
you're a drummer? Okay.
Well, which is a wild coming from an independent fundamental Baptist church.
say.
Now I play the drums at this church.
Is it an electric and acoustic set?
It's acoustic.
Heck yes.
Yeah, we have a couple of guys, and my wife bought me a drum kit for my birthday a year and a half ago.
What's the kit?
I don't know.
I'm a drummer too, so it's okay.
I'm not a drummer.
Okay.
I can keep time and do some fun things, but I'm not.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. But I love it. It's so much fun. I love drumming.
It's so fun.
Dude, I'm like the world's best air drummer.
Nothing wrong with that.
Dude, I crush it in the air drums. But so now I go there, I serve there musically, and I'm happy to do that. And the reason I joined that church, number one, dude, we visited that church one Sunday before my wife had her stroke and had surgery. And immediately they were at the hospital. They were, can we bring you meals? Can we serve you? How can we help? And it was immediately obvious that they cared about people.
Right.
They cared about helping people.
Yeah.
And then when I went there and listened to Pastor, this dude, he actually knew how to handle the word of God. I'm not and I'll just tell you this, Pastor, I love you. This is not a criticism of you or the church. Like, this is a church where when the music starts, the lights go down. I hate that. Our God is a God of light. It's like, why are we turning off the lights?
So funny.
That's just me.
It's fine. We keep our lights up. So,
but for me, I can overlook all of that.
Right.
Because they love Jesus. They genuinely care about people. And the pastor knows how to rightly divide the word.
Right.
And so I'm there.
Right.
I'm in.
That was me for our church. Funnily enough, when we were leaving the other one to go to find another one, we were looking for a few things. It had to be smaller church, had to be one service, and then it had to have woefully unprofessional music. The sermon, like rightly dividing the word, that was fine. Like, we knew that was going to
unprofessional.
Well, and it's funny. I told my pastor this when he was asking us, like when we were joining, what drew us, and I told him the woefully unprofessional thing, and he's like, I'll try to take that as a compliment. And I was like, it is, because I wanted my girls, who they wanted to be in the services more, I wanted them to see that church isn't this perfect thing, polished down to the second. Like, it's a human, clunky mess of people that are supposed to love Jesus and love each other.
Yeah.
And that's it. At its core, that's what I wanted my girls and my son to see eventually. So
PDP.
Oh, that's a great kit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's upstairs in my bonus.
I love that you don't have two rack toms. That shows that you're a worship drummer of the modern era.
That's all I've got. Well, I've got the one,
because then back in the days you'd have the two rack toms.
Yeah.
I had to remove them from our church. Like, they asked me to play to fill in drums, and so I did. And like the first time I filled in, I was like, I'm getting rid of one of the rack toms because I don't want to hit it. And they're like, okay, fine. And then the other drummers were like, all right, fine, we'll get rid of it.
You don't want it.
I would rather do two floor toms and one rack, because it's just easier. Most modern worship music now is so tom driven that it's a lot easier to do that with a rack and a floor, even just a rack and a floor, or two floor. And so that's what I've done. And so even like as a songwriter, I know that a lot of the songs that I'm writing are probably going to have toms in the verses and stuff.
I mean, my wife bought it for me from this guy. I need to shout him out, Tez House of Drums in Greenville, Big Tez. So it was so cool, man. Like, It's my 45th birthday. My wife takes me out to lunch. She hands me this card. She slides it across the table. I open it up. All the card says is, go to this address.
Get out.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So we finish eating. We get in the car. I go to this address. And we're standing outside the door. And I can hear drumming on the inside. And I'm like, oh, no way. And I thought that she had bought me, like, just for fun, like, a series of, like, 12 lessons.
Right, drum lessons or something like that.
So we go in there, he's showing me around, and she's like, no, we're here to buy you a kit. And I'm like, come on. Really?
Dude, what a great wife.
Oh, she's the best.
Dude, but, like...
Sorry.
No, it's great.
Story.
So we were never like, I never want to go to church ever again. Because I knew, and like you were saying, that the bride of Christ is not the institution, it's the people. Yeah. Right. And like we just found a bad batch. You like as simple as you can say it, right? But you know, I was sitting there like, okay, I don't know what to do, but my brother, my sister, and a couple of their like family friends that work in tech and corporate were like, hey, you should just do tech. Like it pays better and has better hours, and we'll help you. Like I was unemployed during COVID, getting the Biden stimulus packages and like going into credit card debt. Like that's all we had is we had the Biden stimulus package. I got no unemployment because that was a whole thing. They said even though they fired me, they said that like I resigned and it was like a trick so that I couldn't get anyway. So I couldn't get unemployment. So I wasn't getting unemployment. I'm like, we're going into crazy debt. We're in Delaware. We're like, where do we even go? And so my parents lived in Philly at the time. Her parents lived in Charlotte, and her sister lived in Charlotte. But then one of her sisters lived in Spartanburg and Boiling Springs. And she said, you guys should just come down for a week and just stay with us and just see what South Carolina is like. Because we have a feeling you don't want to live with her mom and dad or my mom and dad. Because I love my mom and dad, but I did not want to be in the North anymore. I didn't want to be because that would have been Pennsylvania, and I didn't want to be there. And so we went down for a week and we went to Boiling Springs and we were like, okay, like South Carolina feels like we need to be down here. And so
do you live in Boiling Springs?
No, we moved to Greer. So we're in Greer.
Okay.
Sorry, Greer. We're in Greer. We're in Greer. So we live in Greer now. We just live right all the mill homes are right down there. But it's actually where we live. It's so funny. But anyway, so as we're thinking, okay, like let's go to South Carolina, I was able to get an interview at Cisco, the tech company, the IT company. And I mean, that was incredible kindness of people like my brother, my sister, a couple guys, Raj, Rehan, who literally like week in and week out would like help me work on resumes.
Yeah.
And AI wasn't a thing then.
Sure.
So like you were just making your resume on your own with people.
Resume making sucks.
Yes, without AI especially. So I was just doing that, and they would do mock interviews with me and like help me just get better at interviewing, right? And help me now position myself as what I did as a pastor for that. And thankfully, the Lord was gracious, and I was able to interview with two people who were believers. And funnily enough, one of them was a drummer on his worship team, so we got to like talk about music. And they were like, they gave me a shot as a basically like a low-level project manager. But what was hard was, funnily enough, I made more as a project manager in tech, like one of the lowest levels that I did as like an executive pastor at a church. But it was really hard coming into at the very bottom. And I'm like 30 years old. Like I've been a pastor for 6-7 years. Like I was an executive pastor, I was an associate pastor. Like I ran teams, I had staff. I'm like, you're an individual contributor. You have no staff. You do Excel, and you're like, this is hell. What am I doing? I remember I was like, all right, God, is this what it's going to be like? Because I can't just do this for the rest of I can't do just Excel work and just be a grunt for the rest of my life. I feel like there's something else. And it's just the Lord would like get me into these interactions with people. And so like within a year, a guy I had worked on a project with was like, hey, I have a job. It would be a promotion. It would be more money. And so I went from making like 60 to like 110. And then I was like, I've never made this money in my life. What the heck? But we still are dealing with all the debt and stuff. And then
that's awesome. You just went like the story of Joseph.
dude. Well,
You're
just wait, it gets better. But the Lord, like, he kept doing it. Like, it was, and then the problem with Cisco was big tech companies after COVID realized they needed to let people go, and they would lay off people. And so I survived layoffs, didn't survive layoffs, was able to find new jobs. But in one point when I didn't survive a layoff, I found a new job. I was able to get a little bit more money, and then I got like another promotion through the layoff. And so then I ended, like, I was ending Cisco, and I was making a little bit more money than that. And but I knew, though, I'm like, this is still not the height of my capability from just being a pastor. I'm like, you operated at a certain level. You're like, I can do that here. And like, we don't have to get into this, but this is when, like, all the mental health stuff started happening for me, was because when we first moved down after all the church hurt, my wife realized she had terrible postpartum, because we had Lucy and Nora like that. And so she had no idea. Then we went and got let go from a church, moved down to a whole different state. We get down here, she finally can have peace, and then her body's like, you have postpartum and you have crazy anxiety. And she was just like having these mental breakdowns every day. And I was like, we got to get help.
Jeez.
So she started going to counseling, which was fantastic. EMDR is some of the best counseling you can ever do. It's eye movement disassociation reprocessing. It's incredible for trauma. It's incredible. I actually have done it myself too, because when she was getting that done, as a husband, when your wife is suffering, you're like, all right, if I have any issues I'm going through, like, those are on the side. Like, yeah, I'll deal with those later. And so as a result, though, the doctor I saw when I first came down was like, you've got bad reflux, here's reflux medicine. Oh, you've got anxiety, here's anxiety medicine. Oh, you can't focus, here's Wellbutrin. And so I'm on all this medicine, surviving these layoffs, still feeling like I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Years are passing. And I get to a point, though, that I have a really bad boss. She was the worst boss I've ever had in my life. And I was starting to have a lot more anxiety, because especially then we had our son. So, we now have this new kid, and it was just a terrible relationship with my boss. And then the medicine, I noticed that I started having more and more suicidal thoughts, like every day, hundreds of them, and panic attacks tied to work. So anytime I get a message from my boss, because of how our relationship was, it was usually something I did wrong. It was never anything I did right. And the medicine, some of those, they say it in the symptoms may include suicidal thoughts,
dude.
But don't worry, trust me. But I was like, my counselor now later was like, yeah, that was you. You were the one that, for some reason, instead of like suicidal thoughts, it was just suicidal thoughts, like, all day, every day. And I was getting like hundreds of them. And I was going like, what is happening? I feel like I'm going insane, because nothing's happening. Right? I'm not like, yeah, I'm having a terrible time at work, but it's not like I am out on the street. I have a great family. I have great kids. Like, why do I just want to kill myself every single moment of every day? You feel like you want to say something?
Do you think? Because look, the fact of the matter is that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against.
Was it spiritual warfare?
That's not where I'm going.
Okay, sorry.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm just like, how much is Satan involved? And I mean this in the pharmaceutical. No, I don't mean that facetiously. I mean, I'm being
Satan. Big Pharma is just Satan.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what it is. That's what he's saying. Cancel him right now. Sorry, keep going.
It's my show. You can't cancel me.
That's actually a good point. He's not sponsored.
I'm not sponsored by anybody.
Big Pharma's not sponsoring, so you're fine.
You're like, I have no sponsorships. Nobody can cancel me.
That's so funny. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. And I don't know. They're like, God works his will through men.
Right.
Satan also,
influences
to some
men.
degree,
Yes.
does the same.
Right.
We have pharmaceutical companies that, in some regards, they provide very good things. In others, not so much. Obviously, thoughts to kill yourself, they don't come from the Lord.
No, right. And that was...
So it's like...
But that's why I thought I was going insane, because I was... And this, trust me, having now, like... I'm always open about this.
That, by the way, that has to be a short.
What?
on social media.
What?
That right now, like Satan is big pharma, cancel this guy. That has to be.
That's going to be a great.
That's
going to be a great clip. But here's going to be another one too that will really get people to listen. But like I was though the closest I've ever been to killing myself. Like I carry usually, and I have a crossbody bag that has a secret compartment. And I remember, and I was never going to do it, but I remember having my hand on my gun in my crossbody bag, driving my kids to school, because my brain was just like, you just need to do it. Like, you just need to do it. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing? Just do it. Just do it. And I was like, and this is, to me, is why I can understand now, having gone through it, why people develop multiple personalities and why it happens, because you literally feel like you're looking at a whole different person, because you're like, this isn't me. Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, this isn't me. This isn't from the Lord. Like, who is this person that is so desperate to be just done? Like, I was looking up, does life insurance pay out suicide? And if life insurance paid out, it doesn't. But if life insurance did,
it does not. But usually there is a time limit.
Right.
Like if you have a policy, if you get like past the 5-year mark or whatever. By the way, seriously, don't kill yourself.
Don't.
No, I'm being serious. Don't.
But I looked it up, right? And there was a part of my brain that was like, rats, if it paid out for suicide, you would have had a great, like, could have set your family up for, they got out of all the debt you might have had. And, you know, all the student loans would finally all be paid off, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, you could finally bring value to your family and not be a burden. Like, that was a lie that was just in my head. And so,
the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, to destroy, John 10.
But the beauty of it, though, was like, one, so I was able to go on 6 months, 100% paid medical leave through Cisco's benefits. And I did that. I mean, my doctor, my new doctor at the time was like, I will help you get on medical leave. Like, we are going to do that paperwork because you are not functioning. Like, you cannot keep working because it's not making it any better. And so during that time, I was trying to figure out what to do with medication. We tried to change medication, and it helps for like a second, and then it would just get worse. And what was the beautiful thing, though, was by the time the 6 months were running out, I had found a new job, which is the job I have now. I had interviewed with my boss, and I was going to start my new job, which also was this. And money's not a thing. It was $100,000 more money a year. It was a better team. It was actually better schedule-wise for me. And my boss is actually a very kind guy. He's not a believer. He's a very kind man. And like, the Lord was so gracious to make that happen. And the counselor that I was going to at the time, I'd been doing EMDR, was like, I think you need to stop taking, like, I said, I think I need to stop taking the medication. He was like, if you think that's what you need to do, from what we've had in our conversations, I will support you completely. And I was like, okay, here's my problem, though. I'm impulsive sometimes. I have more self-control. I quit cold turkey Wellbutrin. That was a terrible week. That was really bad. And then I started weaning off of Prozac, and then I just completely cut it off cold turkey. And I had the worst month of withdrawal that, by the way, if you take medicine like that for a while, coming off of it physically hurts. Yeah. Because what it does is it numbs a lot of your body. And so everything doesn't, like, you're not as sore from workouts because when you take Prozac, because it numbs those receptors. And so I was just like in constant pain. My joints were hurting. Like, I was like, okay, I don't wish to be suicidal. I don't have those suicidal thoughts, but this is just not fun too. But when it was finally out of my system, like, for the most part, the suicidal thoughts stopped.
Yeah. I
know you wanted to say something. Sorry.
No. You're good. I'll say this, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll refill the drinks and whatever. When I was just leading up to my divorce, I was an emotional basket case, dude. I went to see a therapist for the first time. My former spouse and I were. This is stuff I've never shared before with very few people, and so I'm just going to put it on camera. But we leave my kids with my mom and dad in Louisiana, because that's where my parents lived at the time. and she and I come up here because we decided we're moving here. We need to find a house for us to live in. This is the summer 2019. This is
Right before COVID.
June. Yeah, which was the Lord's grace, like, because nobody knows COVID's coming. The Lord knows. And he gets me out of California before and other stuff. Like,
yes. Keep going. Sorry. But
So-
yes.
So we come up here to visit, and things are not good. Not good. And so I go see a therapist. I'm here. I need help. I'm not in good shape. Dude, I go in this therapist's office, and I've been holding on to just a lot of things. And I sit down in her office, and and as a man, like, I burst into, like, sobbing.
Yeah,
weeping, like rocking back and forth, weeping for like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't say a word. I just cry.
Right.
And she's like, this guy's got issues.
Let me get the diagnosis. Insurance is going to love this.
And now I knew what the problem was.
Right.
She wants to put me on meds, like, immediately.
Immediately.
We talked for a long time, and she wants to, and I go back to see her a couple more times. She wants to put me on meds. Now, I don't know what her license and her what blah, blah, blah was. She couldn't prescribe meds, but she could get us on a video chat with a telehealth, whoever who could prescribe.
Right.
And I told her, I'm like, no, I don't want that. I do not even want to go down the road of medication, because in my mind, I'm like, I know what the real problem is.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that this is just a season. And if I can get past this season, I will be okay. Now, obviously, I made it past the season, but it's just like mental health, it is so important.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it more gravely than
But
that.
it's also so complex, because exactly what you're saying, and I always tell people, I will never say you should never take medication.
Sure.
Because there is something to be said about sober-mindedness, right? Like, you can accomplish sober-mindedness through medication to some degree, but never long-term. Because the way that our bodies have been made by God is that they will always seek homeostasis. Anything you take into your body through medication is not going to help homeostasis. It might help you find some equilibrium for a second or for a little bit, but not homeostasis. And so no matter what happens, it's like reflux. If you take reflux medicine every day, your body creates more stomach acid.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are you doing? What do you stop it? No, we need this. And it's the same thing with medication. If you can handle gritting it out and pushing through having good community, having people around you, having, your own handles with the word and the Holy Spirit's influence in your life, then yeah, don't. But if you don't, like, if you cannot make it to tomorrow without medication, yeah, medication, because I don't want people to kill themselves and not make it to tomorrow, but it's never the long-term solution. And I think that's one of the hardest parts is it's very much a set it and forget it in a lot of ways when it comes to mental health. It's like, you're going through this, let's set it and forget it. We'll monitor it, but you're like...
Yeah, but then you're on Prozac for 12 years, right? And it should be...
I was on Wellbutrin for 3 and Prozac for, a year and a half.
Yeah, and I just feel like, for people, we want to be like, okay, I have this issue. This can help me, but I don't want to use this forever. Let's find what the issue is. Let's get it fixed and then get off the drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, look, time out. We're going to take a quick break. All right, we're back. Replenish. We went for Tullamore. I've never had this Tullamore DEW. It's Irish whiskey. We were drinking Florida Cagna 12-year rum. I've still got some of this. This is Glitch by Blackbird. I'm fixing to light it up. But so we're at a super deep, very important part of this conversation. So you're developing, obviously, lots of suicidal thoughts. Driving your kids to school with your hand on your gun.
Caveat that.
Previously on Sunday Afternoon Smokes.
There you go.
that's like driving your kids to school with your hand on your gun. That's not good.
It was a dark.
So you're in the process of developing.
Already developed.
Yeah, no, it's launching. You're in the process of launching. I've seen the posts. Is Kickstarter over? It might be by the time.
Oh, it will definitely be over. Yeah, Kickstarter is annoying, but yes, it will be over by the time this comes out.
All right, so tell us about the app. Obviously, this is with suicide prevention or help or you give us this.
Yes. So the biggest thing for me, when I was going through everything I did, right, I knew, one, I would never kill myself, mainly because I have a wife and I have kids, and I have a master's in counseling, and I've counseled many people to know that a lot of their current issues have come from things that happened to them when they were kids. So I was like, I'm not going to do that to my kids. I'm not going to give them something that's going to be so devastating to them that's going to completely change the trajectory of their life, which is hilarious now, actually thinking back to our conversation before about like, where it's like, what do you do things for? Is it for other people or for yourself? Like even in my that answer, it was not about I would never kill myself because the Lord has made me and given me a life, and I would never end the life that the Lord's given me. And that would be, why would you do that to something so beautiful? Mine is it's others focused, but you know what? It kept me alive, and I'm working through all the other stuff. But so I knew I wouldn't do it. I knew I wouldn't kill myself, and I knew I had reasons to stay. And so, but I also know people. I've lost friends to suicide. I know people who battle with suicidal thoughts, and it's an incredibly prevalent issue, more than everyone actually realizes. And I thought, there's nothing. Is there anything for people in the moment? In doing research, I realized there wasn't. There are resources. There's counseling. There's like BetterHelp. There's other apps and stuff for like VA and everything, but even in those resources, there's literally nothing for prevention. It's awareness. It's like help, right? There's suicide awareness, but there's not, hey,
when you're like thinking, there's like, don't do this.
Don't do this, right? Because it's 988, but like no one, you're talking about like the church in 2026, like things are different now. We're in 2026. We are a digital world. And we are used to opening our phone and swiping and doing things. We don't call, or if we do, like it's a lot harder than you think when it's like asking someone, hey, I know that you broke your ankle, but I need you to walk outside. I'm like, it's a little harder to do that though, because I can't walk on that. But it's saying, well, no, all you have to do, if you just walk outside though, you'll be fine. Like, but I can't because I can't walk on my leg. And so it's the same thing when someone's suicidal. It's like, all you have to do is just call someone or text someone. I can't even think straight. Like, God, you expecting me to call and text? Who am I supposed to call and text? Also, even if you have people, like if you're going through it, sometimes the people that are in your community or in your circle might not be as willing to like field those thoughts and those things because it's difficult, like having to, once again, your friend's suicidal, right? And you have to, it's a whole journey for the other people on the outside. But we said this in the very beginning, we are wired for community. And so my goal was, what if I made an app that all you did was you swiped and you tapped it, and then it sent a text message and a call to people you decided. And before you tapped it, you could write your message in it. So when you added your contacts and everything, you would also write like, hey, I'm suicidal, call me right now, right? Or I'm suicidal, like come to my house. Like you could make it as specific as you want. And I talked to people about it, and they were like, that is an incredible idea. I don't know any other app that's like that. And so I said, okay. And something, to go back to, even just to like throw back to writing books and stuff, when I was working on mantra stuff and someone was like, no one's going to care unless you've written a book. I was like, fine, I'll write a book and I'll publish a book. And that's what I did. It's the same thing with the app. I'm like, no one's going to do this for me. I don't have the money to pay someone to make the app for me. And I can't raise the money because it's a suicide prevention app. I can't have ads on it. Like I can't have hot singles in the area when you open your app. Like I can't do that. I can't have like, I can't put
hot Asian singles.
Yes. I can't have like 80-year-old Gladys, doctors hate her because she's like, I can't do that. And I couldn't put it behind a paywall. I couldn't be like, you want to kill yourself? Just pay me $1 and you won't. Like, I couldn't do that. So I was like, okay, it's got to be free. And if it's free, no investor is going to invest in it because they're not going to get their money back. So
This is just like a love, like this is a because I care about people,
well,
like straight up.
so I was like, but I know that this is what I want to do, I can do, and I'm passionate about it because I went through it, right? And so I built the app itself. It's called Stay, and I started a 501c3 to go along with it, so you get your tax write-offs and everything like that. And I mean, I was doing this while I'm working my other job, my main job, while I'm being a dad and a husband, and I'm coaching CrossFit, and I'm doing a podcast, and I'm doing this and doing that, but I only could do it. And you can say what you want about AI. I could only do it because I had AI, because I could literally use AI to talk to AI and code it for me,
Yeah.
and then tweak it and change it and do all this kind of stuff. And so I built it. And so over the past year, that's what I've been doing. And like everything from back end to front end, from what you see, from how it works, from the functionality, from if you press the button, it sends the text, actually testing that to get it to work, buying a number through a number service. If you're on it and I'm on it, and like, let's say your wife and someone presses the button, if you don't answer, it kicks to me. If I don't answer, it kicks to her. If she doesn't answer, it prompts you and says, here, no one answered, but here's 988, call that, or retry your contacts. Like every single aspect of the app I did on my own.
Wow.
Because I'm in the business of suicide prevention, not awareness. And that's, to me, I mean, I know that I also have a feeling that the Lord's going to use this, that this could be the thing that gets me out of corporate America, and I do this and it still pays me more than what I make in corporate America. I could see it happening because I don't think the Lord is hamstrung by whether or not you can do it, right? And every single person I talk to about this either knows someone or knows someone.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me.
The Lord is not hamstrung by anything.
So anyway, so that's Stay.
No, that's fantastic. It's like, you know, when the Lord comes to Abram and tells him he's going to have a child, and Sarah laughs, and
She's like, okay.
and he's like, he asks a question: is anything too hard for the Lord? And
Nope.
then he answers that question later in the prophet Jeremiah.
It's true.
Because there's that verse, I don't know the chapter and verse. You don't have to know the chapter and verse. I just know that it's in Jeremiah. It says Jeremiah. What did you think about it? Chapter and verses are man-made.
No, I know.
Yeah,
That's why oftentimes if I'm doing it, I'm like, it says in Acts. You know,
exactly.
yeah,
Well, that's
no.
what they said in the writers of the New Testament, like Paul quoting Hosea, as he saith also in OC. Like,
He's not like in
it's like-
Hosea 5:2.
yeah, it doesn't say that, but it's like he says in Jeremiah, there's nothing too hard for me.
Yeah.
So he's not hamstrung by anything.
No.
He can
Amen.
do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar said so. I read that passage at the end of Daniel 4 in church yesterday.
But there you go. That's
so. When is it live?
No, because so part of just to peek behind the curtain.
This, by the way, just for timing purposes, this is scheduled to publish August the 2nd.
I know, I saw. It's totally fine.
Okay. Well, I don't know if
It might be
futuristically.
by now it might be live. It should be live because right now it is in review. So
Okay.
the App Store has to review the app to make sure it's okay and it's fine. And you have to go through all all the hoops. And so at least at the filming of this right now, it's in review. By airing of this, it could be live, and if it's live, you'll have links and QR codes and stuff like that.
Is it going to be on Android?
It's not yet, so it's going to be.
You don't care about the Android people.
I don't. You know, it's because I'm on my own, and I have an iPhone, so I can build it out and see it on my phone. I don't have an Android. Like part of the Kickstarter was to be able to either like pay someone to do that for me.
Super mean.
No, stop it. You're fine. I don't care. I'd bust your crap. I would say balls, but I don't know if that's okay on this. I would bust you as well too. So no, it was.
I'm an Android user. All of us green bubble people. He doesn't care if we kill her.
Well, because you shouldn't be green like every time. No one wants you in group chats anyway. All right, so stop. No, but like. So that's next. Like V1 is iOS and Apple. V2 will be Android. Like I'm pushing it out at least on all Apple to all the countries, like 175 countries.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like it's international as much as I can. Like I'll have to tweak kind of like who's your suicide, but all that to say, like when it goes live, like it's live. Now the whole Kickstarter and the money thing was. This is not going to be a small app. Like the people I've talked to, I'm in talks with different recovery centers, recovery networks, hospital systems, other people, VA, I'm getting into conversations with them soon. Like, they're going to push it out, and schools are going to push it out. And so if they push it out, and let's say conservatively 1,000 people download the app, because I don't think it's going to be tens.
Dude.
Like, if 1,000 people download it, here's the only problem. If 1,000 people download this app and everyone presses the button and makes a 5-minute call, I pay for that. Like, that's money I'm paying. So, and I have a wife and a kid and 3 kids, and like I'm sole income. So that was where I was trying to raise the money, was just at least have a buffer. Now, thankfully, even outside of the Kickstarter, the Lord's been gracious, and I've had conversations, and I've gotten some sizable checks. That's I think it'll be enough to have somewhat of a buffer. But I'm not looking at this like, oh, it'll be a nice 100-person app. Like, this is going to be tens of thousands of people using this app.
Well, if it's global, it's going to be millions.
And if that's the case,
a lot of phone calls.
That's a lot of phone calls and text messages.
I need to
hold on. That's a lot of phone calls and text.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I need to connect you with my friend Martine Halou at Rise Prevention.
There you go. Is it recovery?
No, so they go into a lot of the schools locally. Then they're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, their whole thing is the best way to deal with addiction is to prevent it from ever happening.
Yes.
And so they work with a lot of young people in schools. They work with a lot of young people in juvie.
Yep.
I just feel like that would be a worthy connection. I will definitely, after this show, tomorrow, considering the hour,
that's fair.
I will connect you and Martine.
Look, it's a lot. I mean, it's only getting worse because technology has made it that way. Social media has made it that way. Like, I've joked, like, if only once it gets big, I'm a dreamer, right? Like, and some of the problems at times is I dream a lot, and then when I dream, I expect the Lord to come through in that way, and He doesn't always, because He has His own plans. But my dream is that it gets big, and then, like, I'll get in contact with Meta or even ChatGPT, OpenAI people, and being like, yeah, you know how you keep having these lawsuits about you're causing suicide and everything? Like, you want to have a PR help? Why don't you sponsor my app? And then that would really help you out, because then you could say, like, hey, we now have sponsored suicide prevention.
And then Joel is cruising the Atlantic smoking cigars on his yacht. That's
not on a yacht, and probably my Porsche. I'll be driving down
on the Atlantic. How's that?
No, I'd be going to California, driving the coast in a Porsche, and you and I would be there together.
Oh, I'm in the picture?
Of course. Why wouldn't you be?
That's fair. Why wouldn't I be?
Exactly. Don't sell yourself.
All right. I know we're crunched on time. We got about 15, 20 minutes. So let's take it to. This is typically where I start the conversation. We'll finish it up here at the end.
I'm so sorry. I didn't think it'd taken this long. I thought we were just started. It's flown by.
Like, the way things are a little bit different when you move to video from just being audio only.
Right.
And I don't really care, because I've always said Sunday afternoon smokes is just a casual conversation.
Right.
So it goes wherever it goes. I've put away my notebook.
I know you did. You had it open for like maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and they just
like, whatever. So, how did you get into cigars? You smoke tonight?
Yeah.
Normally, is this a thing for you?
So I love smoking cigars, but my wife hates it. So case in point, when I get home, I will have to strip naked into my laundry room, leave my clothes there, and then immediately take a shower and brush my teeth twice. She hates it.
I'm going to give you a bottle of, and I need to partner with these people, Cigargle. It's a company that has developed a mouthwash formulated specifically for cigar smokers. Works fantastic. The problem, of course, is not just your mouth or my mouth, but it's going to linger in your mustache, which is the big issue.
Yep.
My wife is I might have to take a shower before bed tonight.
So it's so funny. When I was 18, right before turning 18, because that's when you can start smoking, my parents, at our house in Virginia, we had a hot tub, and I was like, I want to smoke a cigar in a hot tub. I just like, dude, I was just young.
That is one of my top 3 places to smoke a cigar.
So I'll do you one better. So I turn 18, and like, I don't know, so I just go to the gas station and buy the ones that are in the little capsule things. I didn't do Black and Mild wines or wood tips or whatever. Like, I'm not that ghetto. I got the little capsule ones.
The tubo.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And me and my friends, because we were like this was 2009, you know, or like whatever. Yeah, it was 2008, 2009. We just turned 18, and we're just young high schoolers who are like, I guess, you know, we went to a Christian school. So what do? We just would smoke cigars. Like, we thought it was cool. So
it is cool.
So they would go over to my house and we'd smoke cigars in the hot tub. And one time, the best smoke I think I've ever had, even though it was a crappy 7-Eleven cigar, was when it was snowing, and I smoked it in my hot tub, and it was just the best. But
Killer.
that got me into smoking. And so ever since I would smoke cigars. I smoked cigars ever so often in college, but I'm a poor college student, so I'm smoking whatever I can, you know, nothing expensive. Then when I graduate, I got into pipes because I was also, you know, I was like a pastor, kind of reformed, so I was like, I guess pipes are the thing. And I realized I hate pipes. I hated them so much. They would get me so lightheaded because so my problem is, I need really good, really tightly packed cigars that will hold a flame well.
Dude, pipes are they're finicky.
Yeah. And so the problem was I was always relighting and I was always puffing, and it would just get me so lightheaded because I was basically just burning through it, you know, just trying to keep it going. So so I switched back to cigars, and to me, what is the most relaxing feeling is smoking a cigar on a cool evening with whatever you like, your drink of choice. I have always liked, and I wish we could have talked more about writing because I have more.
Let's talk about it.
I have more books I want to write. One of them is a sci-fi trilogy that I've already. I'm into the second book, but I love Jack and Cokes. I just think it's a classic drink that was actually invented in 1930 something. I just think like a Jack and Coke just to me has always been like, when I was younger, like I just thought.
Well, I'm curious if you like Jack and Coke so much, why you went for rum and Coke tonight.
Well, I didn't know you had, so I just.
Well, I don't have Jack, but I have bourbon.
Jack, well, rum and Coke's rum and Coke.
Is Jack bourbon or is it whiskey?
It's whiskey.
I have whiskey.
No, it's fine. That's why I just said rum and Cokes are also fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Shh. It's okay. Shh. It's okay. Shh.
Dude, I've messed up my selection over here.
It's okay. Did you just realize
I got
that?
2 ryes. That's Michter's rye. That's not bourbon. So I have 2 ryes and no bourbon.
You should be ashamed. Honestly, you should leave. Leave the shot. Let me take over. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. My name is Joel. No, but I thought it was, to me, one of the most relaxing things. And I loved smoking and having conversations with other people. But there were times when I was in college, and even when I was young and married, or even before I got married out of college, like I would just smoke a cigar on my own because it's
fantastic.
It just was good. And, you know, it's funny growing up in working or kind of being in the church. Like one of my favorite preachers of all time was a guy named Charles Haddon Spurgeon. And one of his quotes.
Have you been to the Tabernacle?
In London? Yeah, I went.
I have too. I have a picture.
I didn't go inside.
You didn't go inside?
Well, that's another story. I was in London like last week or 2 weeks ago for work, and I went by it, but I didn't have time to go in. Anyway.
My beard was much shorter, but I have a picture of me right next to his bust.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you know, he's famously quoted saying like, I will smoke. You know, he talks about smoking cigars, and people are like, you shouldn't smoke cigars, it's bad for you. He's like, I will smoke a cigar to the glory of God before I go to bed tonight. Like,
yeah,
because someone was like, you shouldn't smoke. And he's like, I have already smoked a cigar, and tonight I will smoke one to the glory of God before I go to bed. And I was like, so, you know, a preacher who I looked up to, and there's a reason why my son's name is Edmund Haddon Parker Archeri, is because Charles Haddon Spurgeon. I loved it. I loved that vibe too. I wasn't Presbyterian, like I don't do all that stuff, but I felt like I leaned more towards that Reformed, and all the Reformed guys like to smoke and drink, and so I was like, okay, this is cool too. Like in the church, it was also fine. I didn't ever go to a church that was like, you shouldn't smoke.
Dude,
or drink.
I should send you. I should. There's a cigar company out there. The date escapes me, but it's one of like the big Reformed confession dates. But they have like cigars. They're like Spurgeon cigars. They have like,
where do you get them?
Cigars like No King But Christ on the band. Dude, it's amazing. I'll
send it to me.
I'll send it to you.
But yeah, so that's what got me into cigars. And I've ever since. I mean, one of my favorite places to go smoke locally is Social Cigar Club.
Great spot. I want to get Adam on the show.
I love. you should get him on. You should. Why? That would be perfect. Cigars,
I know.
and he's an entrepreneur.
I know.
And because he left Cameroon and started his own
yes,
thing.
he did. I DM'd him, but I think he was in the Dominican or touring some factory.
DM him again.
I just need to go up there because I've bought cigars from him before for the cigar box.
You should do it.
I need to bring him on.
He'll do it.
No, I know he will.
And
who doesn't want to be here?
Exactly. And so, I mean, I lived closer to Cameroon for a while. I liked Cameroon, but one of the things I liked about social, and part to what we've talked about, is ventilation. Like, you don't smell as much of it. When you leave Cameroon, it is caked into your entire body. When you leave social, the ventilation's so good that it's not really as like prevalent. So, but I would do that, and I would smoke with friends, and I would smoke with, like, honestly, funnily enough, your cigar thing that you're talking about, like, if Stay ever blows up, like, that's going to be one of the things I'll do, is I'll do an event and we'll have your cigar thing, because that's like, to me,
Prevent suicide, smoke a cigar.
you celebrate. I celebrate by having a drink and smoking a cigar and having a great steak.
Yeah.
Like, that's, so I would
Absolutely.
I would have you hands down in an instant.
Would love to.
With, like, if the launch goes really well and, like, we can celebrate, and, like, we we bring in some money or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, but that's what got me into cigars, was just like a hot tub in high school. And then,
do you how often do you smoke?
if I had my way, it would be probably more than once a month. But right now it's pretty rare, just because of just like my wife, but she's funny. She'll still be like, "You haven't smoked in a bit. You should go get a cigar." And I'm like, "I love you so much."
Yeah.
But she's like, outside though, like, smoke outside.
Well, sure, and there are lounges, but, like, dude, if you want to have a cigar, you want some company, I'll give you my cell afterward. Anytime. I've got the best private lounge in the upstate.
That's true.
Right here.
And I mean, like, it would take me a similar amount of time to get to social and off Pleasantburg. So it's like, It's not that far.
The cigars and whiskey here are free. So,
I mean, that's not bad. Extra 10-minute drive, free whiskey and cigar. I'll bring the Diet Coke. Like,
why do you drink Diet Coke?
This is so funny.
Come on, bro.
Okay.
With that mustache, you can't drink Diet Coke.
So, I probably can't tell, but I try to care a little bit about my figure. I also like food and sweets and stuff, but I used to drink Jack and Cokes just as is, right? And then I was on a kick of really caring about my nutrition, trying to count everything, making sure I was trying to lose more weight. And I, at one point though, like, had found it in my diet to get like a Whataburger burger, and I was like, I'll just do Diet Coke, whatever. And I had it, and I was like, and I had poo-poo Diet Coke for forever.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Because everyone calls them fridge cigarettes. They do it. It's hilarious. And so I was like, oh, Diet Coke. And I work with a coworker who drinks Diet Coke all the time. And every Jack and Coke, I would never do Diet Coke. It would just be regular Coke. And I had Diet Coke one time, and I was like, none of the calories, none of the sugar. Like, I'll just do it.
Do you drink Coke Zero?
I don't like Coke Zero.
Really?
Anyway, so now I'm like a Diet Coke guy. Not like every day, but like if I ever get soda now, which is so funny, I'm like,
dude, my mom,
I used to hate Diet Coke. I was like, it's stupid, the aspartame, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, crap, I'm drinking fridge cigarettes.
My mom's a Coke head, dude. She drinks Coke for breakfast. Like,
now that's a little much.
Dude, like, ever since.
Those are her fridge cigarettes.
Dude. But no, she drinks full leaded. Like, she didn't drink Diet Coke. She just drank Coke.
Straight Coke.
Boom.
Mexican Coke.
No, I've introduced her to those, and
those are great.
I am a Dr. Pepper man.
Ooh, class. Oh yeah, dude, I grew up on Barks root beer.
I cannot stand.
Okay, fine. And
I don't like
Dr. Pepper.
licorice.
There's some that are too licoricey, yeah. But like, I love Dr. Pepper. I used to drink soda all the time when I was younger, but then like, I have to care about my figure.
I hear you. So.
Not that you don't. I'm not saying,
dude, I'm
not that kind of person. I'm not fat shaming, okay?
I'm not ashamed. I make up.
I gotta keep that. That is great. If everyone was like, I'm not a fat shamer, it's like, well, I wouldn't be ashamed anyway. So that's the best.
I make up for it with my beard.
It's very true.
And one day a few years ago, I got on the scale and it said 267. And I'm like, that's too close to 270. and 270 is
too close to
300.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to do something about this. So I changed my diet.
Well, good for you.
And so I stopped drinking soda. I stopped going out to fast food. I stopped eating things that come
It's
out
amazing that how quickly that can
come
happen.
out of a box.
Yes.
And I got down to like 232.
What are you now, 180?
Bro, seriously?
Mm.
I went on a cruise.
All right,
It
200.
just blew everything. Dude, I'm 247. I've got to drop 15 pounds to get back to 232. You're a terrible judge of weight.
Do you want? You know what's gonna make you feel like you're gonna hate even more? Like I'm 240 something.
Well, but you're tall.
I'm 6'5". And,
I'm
yeah.
5'9" and
just
247. I'm a stud.
You are a stud.
I'm a stud.
Yeah, you get. You know what? You're still able to help out your wife, so that means that you're healthy.
That's
now.
all I really care about, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's not all I care about, but that's how the priority list
You're a stud to me.
is.
You got great eyes. Those eyes are beautiful.
I've heard that many times. Thank you. And the beard. My wife is. She's had it up to here with people stopping us in public.
About your beard,
Yeah, men and women alike.
dude.
I've had people ask me, "Can I touch it?"
Yeah, when I was like, it's funny when I was in ministry.
I
'cause
can
that was
tell
what
you
did.
can grow it, bro.
Well, I had it, and I had the curl of the mustache. So I was a curler. I didn't do
Yeah.
this. I did the curl, and it came down to about like here. So it was great. It was funny. My friend and I, like I used myself and him for the inspiration for my old podcast logo, which was just a beard and a hat and a fedora. What?
Do you keep that stubble purposely?
Yes. So
It looks good.
the reason why
5 o'clock.
The reason why is because, like when we got married, I started getting white hairs like crazy, and in my beard, and I don't like it because it's not everywhere. Like if I would rather just once it goes completely white, that's what I'll do. I'll probably grow it out a little bit more, but I like this with this. My wife has always said you can never go clean shaven, and so I like having the stubble to add a little bit of like detail to the
A
chin.
little bit, yeah. No,
So
that's
this with the
good.
beard is like where my mustache is. That's my look.
No, it's good. Do you brush it?
The mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wouldn't brush your stubble.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, hold on, let me just. Yeah, I usually do, and I
You put a little wax in it.
no, I usually just I'll put like, funnily enough, I'll put like leave-in conditioner.
Yeah.
It's because I
Dude,
use my hair and then I do it here.
Yeah, well, you've got great hair. To be honest,
Stop.
you do. No, you really do, man. If I had your hair,
Sir, if you had my hair and your beard,
I'd rule the world.
You would. I'm pretty sure Chris Stapleton, which would be a close kind of like similar look, would be like, I'm gonna go bald, and I'm gonna shave, and I think you should get all my money.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a real appreciation for women with like I never understood at some point in the distant past why there was like 12 different bottles of conditioner.
And now you get it with
But now I understand because they don't all work the same.
Mm-mm.
And you have to find the one that works. People ask me like, how do you get your beard so straight? Why? Like it doesn't just I spend a lot of time with a blow dryer and a small round brush.
Yep.
I understand shampoo.
So you don't do the straightener, the flat iron for beards.
No, that's not. I don't think that's a good idea. And so my routine is shampoo, conditioner, then out of the shower, and then a couple of times a week, before I blow dry, I will put in a damage repair.
Yep.
Because heat is bad for hair, so it
Yes.
makes brittle ends. So I'll put that in before I blow dry, and then I don't have a standard showering routine like some people. I just whenever I feel like it, maybe it's in the evening, maybe it's in the morning. It's just kind of
Okay, now you're a psychopath. Okay.
I'm
It's
not
the same thing.
I'm not crusty.
I
I shower.
When I went to Virginia this past weekend, I was staying with my music partner and for our band, which we totally never even talked about, which is totally fine. But I shower every night and then every morning. And I was like, you go to
You
bed.
shower in the evening and in the morning?
Yeah, because you're dirty
a
before
day?
you go. You want to go to bed dirty? You put your dirty body on your bed.
Okay, well let me help you. I get up, I make my wife breakfast, I let the dog run, I take her to therapy, I come home, I work on my podcast. It's not like I'm out digging ditches and not working up like a massive like
You're a guy wearing pants. You're sweating somewhere. You know you are. So you put that sweatiness back in your bed. Am I wrong? No, I'm not.
I'm gonna edit this out, bro.
What? That was so good.
I'm not.
That was such. I thought that was great.
No, that is no. But I find it wild that you shower. Like, okay, why do you shower in the morning to wake up?
No, because I
What
sweat
are you,
sometimes.
just a sweat bag?
Yes, I am a 6'5" Italian giant. I'm hairy. Dude, I trim my body hair not because I like want to look cleaner,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because it helps me not sweat as much when I sleep.
Wow.
Dude, I have a hard time.
This podcast at the end is gone places.
I have a hard time sleeping places that are warm because I just sweat.
Oh, dude, I can't sleep warm. I can't sleep anywhere but a bed. Like, I hate these people that just fall asleep on a bus or on an airplane or whatever.
How?
I cannot sleep if I'm not in my bed. I can kind of, if I'm lucky, I can doze on a
Dozing is
nice
different.
on a nice chair. I can't sleep.
I'll doze on a couch if I'm laying down. Like, I'll take a quick nap on a couch if I'm laying down, but not like a full night's sleep.
No,
I tried when
I have to in bed.
I can't. I'm also like, part of it too is I have to do more work on my body for some of the aches and pains that I've got. But like, I tried to fly to London overnight in a lay flat bed. I took 2 Benadryl. I took a natural sleep aid. I took other sleeping stuff that I have, and I slept 35 minutes on an 8-hour flight. And I was like, what the hell?
Dude,
I was like, come on, Jesus. Like, what's going on?
I
Where
was
are these old people snoring next
dude,
to me?
when I was in California pastoring, I was going to visit a friend in Ohio, in Cincinnati. I had a man from my church take me to the Los Angeles airport after the Wednesday night service. Service starts at 7, ends at 8. We got in the car, we left, we drove to LA. Terrible traffic. I missed my flight because the traffic was so
Did you
bad.
take a red eye?
Through this red eye, flew to Cincinnati, got off the plane, just was up all night because I can't sleep in an airport. Dude, I was up for like 32 hours.
Yeah.
I went into this, and it was to the point to where my emotions and the chemical compounds in my body were dysregulated.
Yeah.
I went into this bakery and ordered, and this lady, she's like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" I started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was so
Exhausted.
messed up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening? She asked me how I am. How am I crying? Everything's fine.
Dude, when I landed in London, I went to the hotel. When I got to the hotel, it was like 10, and I slept like an hour and a half, and that was the only sleep that I had. Like, it's not like I didn't sleep on the plane. And I came back, and my son had bit his tongue, so he had an ulcer, and he was sick. So like, I was up a lot in the middle of the nights with him. When I coach CrossFit, I have to get up at 4:30. I feel like I still have not recovered from not sleeping on that plane.
Why did you go to London?
So for my main job, so what I do at my main job is like, if there's salespeople and those people own quotas, they have to hit quotas for sales. There's a group that's called like go-to-market enablement, and they do the sales strategy. So they enable.
So your job as a 6'5" Italian guy is, if you don't hit your sales, I'm going to break your kneecaps.
I wish.
That's why.
I wish. No, I wish. But it was very goes kind of full circle to the whole driven thing, right? Like, when I got this job, I was so grateful for it. But I realized too, I wanted to build my career now that I had a job that I feel like I could do well. I wanted to build my career well and build my resume better. And then I had realized that the role that we were doing was, even though we were global, so my coworkers, like, we have a very small team, and they're all global VPs. And I was like, okay, so the role is we're supposed to, even though we're not responsible for quota, we're responsible if, the Belgium regional lead and his team doesn't hit quota. And the CEO's like, all right, my boss's name, Vinay. All right, Vinay and team, like, you guys have the experts, help them hit their quota. You got to hit 3X pipeline. And I remember telling my boss, I was like, this thing that we're doing, which we were doing like a monthly, here's a role play of latest technology. I know we're almost at time, but like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Let's keep going. Anyway.
Okay.
So he was like, even though we're you do a monthly role play, you do with a slide deck that it talks about the topic or the technology, and whatever. Like it was like a newsletter, and we'd say send it to the salespeople, and they like a toolkit, and they could use it and hit their quota or hopefully make progress. I told my boss, I was like, none of this is going to do anything for our resumes, in yours either, because we can never go to the CEO and say, hey, 500 people watched the role play video we worked on and we made happen and sent out. Therefore they're hitting their quota. Like, he's gonna be like, no, they didn't. That's for the people who made the campaign and the engagement. Like the guy who sent the email and drafted it up. That didn't do anything for you. And so I said, we need to go to the regions and take what we're doing and make like a road show essentially. And so I had already been talking to the guy in London who loved our content and was already using it with his salesman. And I was like, let's go to London. And so my boss was like, let's do it. And so we're going to pilot in London. And I mean, it was all on me. Like, this is my idea, my baby. And, you know, if it succeeded, I'd get some credit. And if it failed, like, probably wouldn't look good. And I mean, it's, you know, we're flying our team from the States to London. Like, that's not a cheap thing. Well, a few weeks ago, London and a lot of Europe was having a heat wave. And so I flew into Heathrow, and I landed in Heathrow, and I got on the phone with the regional lead for the UK and he said, we're going to have to cancel the event because of the heat. And it was inside. And the problem was because their infrastructure, they don't have AC, and the rails can't handle heat. And so I just was walking around London for a few days on my company dime. And I mean, it was great. And I get to go back because we were actually going to eventually put it on the app.
If you need somebody to carry your bags, let me know.
You want to go to London?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't pay for you, though. Are you going to come with me?
Come on, just $10.99. Are you paying? Like, I can do it.
That's so funny. But
I'll provide cigars for everybody.
That is hilarious. But it was great. Like, I got to go to London for that. And that's been a fun part about like this job is like I got to work from home for about, you know, I think it's now 5 years and not have to travel. I got to grow. I got to see Lucy and Nora go from basically 2 and 1.
That's fantastic.
To 7 and 6.
That's beautiful.
I got to spend the majority of Edmund's life with him, which is why now he is such a daddy's boy. Like, he'll choose me over my wife, Joanna.
That's good.
10 times. I'm not even saying like 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. Like, he wakes up and goes, Dad, where are you? Like, that's his.
Have you seen those reels on social media of like the girls and they're like, Dad, I love you. And he's like, yeah, you should say that to your mom. She's like, Mom, I love Dad.
Yes. Dude, I mean, like, I will never be upset about the amount of time that I got to have. And so when I got this job, like, it wasn't that I would have to travel a lot. I've traveled some, but I told my wife, and she was totally on board with it. I was like, this is, if I want to build the career that in my goal to being driven, right? Like, I want to get to VP, SVP. I'd love to be in corporate America as long as possible, just to show that I did it the right way. Right, not to be famous or make a ton of money. The money's great, but
you did it without being a douche.
Exactly, all full circle. But like, that would be the goal, but part of it is, and this is a reality that not a lot of people get about working in corporate. Right, is like at some point you hit a level where you're literally just like an evangelist. You're a traveling evangelist who just talks about your company.
Yeah,
and that's it. And my boss, I mean, he travels so much. When London was happening, the week prior, he was in Prague, Budapest,
been there, not there,
Singapore, London again before, like, but all within a month or so. Like, that's all he does is travel. And a lot of people want to be these high level people, and they don't understand that. Like,
though.
It does. Now, the money's great. And if
money's not everything.
It's not. And because you're missing, like, he has kids. Like, some of the reasons why he's able to do it is because he has so much money and he has so many points from flying, he can fly his family out to places. So he does get to see them sometimes, but you're not seeing them all the time.
Dude, I will take time with my kids over money.
Exactly.
7 days a week.
So I did tell my wife, and she was on board with that. I was like, look, if I want to build something, I'm probably going to have to travel some more, and I need to know that you're okay with it. And she's like, I'm okay with it. You don't need to worry about us, because that's my thing. It's if I worry about my family, me, you know, once again, I'm really others focused. And
Well, you should. You're a husband.
no,
and a
yes, but
father,
like,
man.
but my whole thing about like focusing on the value I bring is the value to others, not the value I have in myself. So like, are you gonna be okay? And she's like, stop asking me if I'm gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. And so for her saying it's okay, gave me the ability to be like, all right, like, I want to propose this idea, which means I'm probably gonna have to travel a little bit more.
Sure. And
So-
look, there's a balance there
Exactly.
between travel and family time. And every man who is, I think, who has his head screwed on correctly, who is a husband and a father, cares about the time
Yes.
that he
Oh,
has
yes.
with his wife
Totally.
and his children. But like, there's also that whole like gender roles, certain things, and men, I should do dishes and clean the house.
Oh yeah, the general thing. Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I remember talking to a guy one day, and of course that's not me. Like my wife before this episode, she worked a ton. Her business was getting very successful.
Right.
And I went into this marriage understanding that, and she used to get all stressed out that she was not home enough for us. And I told her at one point, I just sat her down and I said, look, I understood what this was before we got
Right.
married.
I love it.
Go work.
Crush it.
Go crush it. We will, and we are working to build something for when we're 65.
Right.
Okay, and we will have time, but I support you. Go work. It's okay. And in my view as a husband, it was like, number one, I love you. Do whatever that means to you, right?
Right.
And that's part of the miscommunication of what love is. Like, I don't love to me.
I thought you were saying you just love, like, that was to me. I thought
I do.
You just had a
I love your hair. I love your
that was like-
mustache.
guys. Hold on,
Yeah.
we need a moment.
But I love you. And part of the miscommunication of love is me thinking like, I know what love is to her. I
Right.
didn't give that to her.
Oh, yeah,
versus,
yeah,
Let
yeah.
me find out what love is to her and give her that.
Right.
Anyway, but my thing is like, I want to love and support you in whatever makes you successful.
Yeah.
And then do that.
Within reason, right?
With, It was certainly, yeah, within reason. But I was lost my train of thought here where I was
Traveling,
where I was going.
work, busy. You sometimes you have to go through a season.
God bless America. I totally,
Amen. 250th anniversary.
I totally just lost my train of thought.
And so I was just saying that, like, we had an understanding of, okay, if you're okay and you're telling me you're going to be okay, then I'm going to propose this. And if this is a success, if London's a success because it's the pilot, like, it's not maybe we'll travel, like maybe I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Dubai because we have a regional lead there and that team is chomping at the bit. And it's not maybe I'll go to India. It's when am I going to India? When am I going to Bangalore? Or when am I going to South America? And so it's like, when am I going to this place? It's not if. And if you're okay with that, like it's going to happen, but it will be building something that then, I stay at this job. It's great for what I do there, but I can also use that to market myself for another job. So it's just like, but talking to your point about the communication, it was the understanding happened, but we wouldn't have the understanding if I also hadn't asked her to, like, I need to know if you're okay with this, and her to say I am okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's super important.
And I got the time, like I'm not saying I'm gonna do this forever, but I had such amazing years with Lucy and Nora and even Edmund that, like, it's not like I'm gonna be doing this every day of every week. I'm going to be gone.
No,
So
but cherish it while you can, man. It goes super fast. My kids are now 21, 19, 17, and 13.
that's crazy.
And it just flies, like insanely flies. Train's back on track. So this guy was saying he was getting grief one time. He was telling me he was in a bar with his friends. They were drinking, and he was talking about doing the dishes and
Gender role stuff.
yeah. And guys were giving him crap about this. And he said, I just looked at this guy, and he said, as a husband, he said, would you go hungry so your family could eat? I said, yeah. He said, would you bleed so they could be safe? I said, yeah. He said, would you be homeless so your family could have a roof over their head? He said, yeah. He said, then what's the problem with doing the dishes? What's the problem? Like, come on. And that was a powerful statement to me.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be, marriage is not supposed to be you, me. Like marriage is, there are not roles, there are things that the Lord has called us to, and the way that we're supposed to interact with each other within how he has wired us and how he's made us and all that. Yes. At the same time, you don't go and stand before people in the Lord and say like, in richer and poor and sickness and health, like we're in this together, and then be like, but just remember you, me, right? Like you're the one that has to sacrifice. I'm the one that gets to do this. And so that's like, I think part of it though also comes from, if you don't have this, like the scrappy beginning to your marriage, I don't think you, like when we had a scrappy beginning, we're both poor, all we had was each other. Like we realized we're a really good team when we lean into each other. And we have taken that 12 years later to where my parents often will say like, you guys just do, like you always are working together.
Well, part of the gender roles just come from the historical way of people, the way people lived, and the things that men and women did. And a lot of it just has to do with the physical nature of a man.
Right.
But now we live in this tech-driven world.
Anyone can do anything.
Anybody can do anything. Yeah. You know, it's like putting a horse in a field and putting a plow behind it and you putting a thing over and doing, like, that's a job for a man.
Right.
Like a woman can do it, but she can't do it as long.
Right.
And so
exactly.
it's just, he does that. She takes care of the children. She makes the dinner.
And that's fine.
And that's totally fine. But we don't live in that world anymore.
But also, you have to remember too that psychologically there is a difference in the way that our kids relate to a mom and a dad.
Absolutely.
And like there is fatherlessness is one of the most guaranteed causes for delinquency and issues in anyone, boys and girls. And there's a reason, like you know, as a dad, you walk into a room and your kids are misbehaving and you walk in, misbehaving is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Because they're like, there are levels to this in the sense of like
judgments here.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the Lord. Like we are as fathers and as husbands called to shepherd our family in a way that guides them towards like holiness and right living.
Yes.
And we have been given through the way that he's made us and the way that we relate to each other, an aspect of like, if dad gets involved, the hammer is here.
Yes.
It's not mom brings the hammer, dad brings the hammer. It's like, no. If you don't argue with mom either way, but you definitely don't argue with dad.
Yeah. There's a verse I love in Proverbs that says, though hand join in hand, sinners shall not remain unpunished.
Yeah.
Like all the rulers of the world can join up in arms together against God, but it doesn't matter. He's God. And so if you have one child or you have five and you walk into a room and they're all being rambunctious, all five kids can get together.
They
but
still
when
lose.
Dad walks in,
Yep.
It's game over.
Dude, the amount of times, like, it was so funny. Like with Ed, I mean, some people, how they feel about spanking or whatever, like with Ed, because he's a boy, it's so different. You know, boys and girls handle growth and maturity different. And like, I have had to be with Ed a little bit harder than I was with the girls, because like boys just are physical and they want to hit and they want to do things. And so I had to teach him consequences of like, I don't care if you're not even 2 yet. You know, like we don't hit. You don't hit your mom, you don't hit your sisters, but also like you listen when I tell you to do something. And so, and as a result, it's not like he doesn't want to be around me. It's actually almost funny. He wants to be around me more because he's like, that's stability.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm getting when I get with my dad. I get love, and the same thing that I would get with the Lord. I get love, and I get justice, and I get righteousness. And it's consistent, which is, I think, one of the biggest things about how to be a great parent. Just be consistent. Which is, I know at one point you were like, you wanted to know what I was going to say about the tablet thing. I know you're like, I'm interested to see what you'll say about that.
Oh no, I agree, man. Like it's we have destroyed our children by giving them phones and tablets.
I know my wife even says it's a little far for me to say. I think it's abusive. Like, I don't think it's just not smart. I think it's abusing your kid when you give them a phone or a tablet, especially at an early age. Because you are incredibly stunting any development that happens, and you are ruining biochemistry. Like, you physically are changing your kid. And I feel like it's the same thing as if you just broke your kid's arm every day. I'm like, that's what you're doing that, but through their brain. Because now they cannot cope with things. They cannot work through things. You're talking about pushing and gritting through a bad season without medication. Any stress is going to be life or death to them eventually, because they're not going to be able to handle anything, because they've never developed healthy coping mechanisms, because they relied on technology, which has completely rewired their brain. And to me, I think it is a woeful neglect of your duty as a parent. Like, why have a kid if you're not willing to be selfless?
Yeah.
Like, you don't. Once again, it's like you're talking about, would you die for your family? Would you bleed? Would you go homeless? Like, if your kid's sick and up in the middle of the night, do you stay in bed? No. So then during the day, though, when you're still responsible for them. You don't get to just be like, here's TV, here's a tablet, here's whatever. And it's not like we don't watch TV in our family. I have music playing or some type of like lo-fi video on the TV often, because I just love music. And that's fine. I don't give my kids my phone or a tablet or anything. They don't get to just sit there like this. And I think and especially boys, and as a man, like, we are more prone to addiction in that way than anyone else. I remember my parents were good about it. Like, I played a lot of video games growing up, but if I had access to the things I had now and had gotten to be able to just like watch TV, whatever, or play like on a phone, whatever, like, that would not have been good for me. Because boys, like, we can just sit there and we could watch TV and play video games for hours.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Anyway.
All right, man, look, last question, then we'll get you out of here. I know you got to split. What's that thingamajig on your pocket?
I know do I wear my stay shirt? I was like, I don't know if I should wear my stay shirt. And I was like, here's my little stay button. But the funny thing was, when I was buying all these little things, it had a light up function, but the problem was it's like way too bright. And then it also has a pulsing variation, and I'm like, this is like a clubbing thing. I don't think this is what I thought it was gonna be. Yeah,
Let's go.
Hey, you want to stay? What's up?
Like, so it's the logo for stay, and it's all like, it's just the button. The logo is literally just the button. Like, literally, if you look at the app, and
I can't, man. I'm an Android user.
Well, I'll let you see it on the rich person's phone. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's that simple. You literally tap this, and then if I had your number in here, it would go right to you.
Okay.
And it would say, first you'd get a text and a call at the same time, just in case if you didn't answer.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, do you have a website for Stay?
Yes. So if you want to learn more about Stay, go to stay-project.life. That is the website with all the information for the 501c3, which is Stay Project. So it's stay-project.life. It's Stay Project __ on Instagram, because social media is important. I was too late to get to the Stay Project name. But that's what it is on Instagram. And yeah, I mean, by the time we're recording this, should be live. There should be a QR code probably or something to download to the app, but links to download the app or learn more about it or give. But yeah, so the way I describe it is every dollar could be a life saved, and even also like every dollar could be a parent that doesn't have to walk down the hall to the worst nightmare, and I think I'd love to come back on and talk about other not as serious things like writing science fiction books, working on and storytelling and other things, but stays the big thing for me right now.
What's your podcast that you do?
So
Stretch
Thin. That was from a guy I had met going on a writing retreat alone. Like, I went to Chattanooga. He's a coffee shop owner out there. We hit it off because we both wrote books, and we just started chatting. That's what I do. Like, I meet people on Instagram, and we'll just go back and forth, because I'll be like, you look great, or way to go, dude, and you just keep doing that. And then eventually we started talking more, and as we talked more, we were like, he's 50, I'm 35, but we both were like, I feel like half the time I am just absolutely exhausted from everything going on in my life as a dad, as a husband, and we felt like we're stretched thin. And I was like, I hated the whole, we should start a podcast. I was like, we could literally start a podcast. And the only reason I was going to do it was if I was very little work and it was literally just he and I will get on a podcast, and I'll be like, "What was your good and bad and your win from this week?" And that's the homework is living. I don't have to do research on you. I don't have to do anything. It's just you live, I live, and we come in to talk. And then we'll text
So it's
people.
just you two?
Yeah.
Every episode?
And what we do too, and you can be a part of this as well, is like we'll text guys in our life, or we'll have a text thing that you text, and it will say, "Hey, it's Wednesday. What's your win?" And then we share people's wins on the podcast. So it's so little. Like all we have to do is we live, and we just are in community. And we ask guys, what's your win? Because the whole goal was, I wanted to show what good male friendship looks like in the modern era, which is just me looking at you going like, what was your good and bad? Like, what do you feel like you're proud of this week? And it should be 20 things. And it can be anything. Like you took care of your wife today when you didn't want to, or you took the dog out when you were like, oh my God, like whatever. Like everything can be a win, because as guys, we never celebrate wins in our lives and hardly ever celebrate in each other. And so like that's where it came from. And it's simple. Like it's just a weekly podcast where what's your good, what's your bad, what's your win, what are wins from the guys in our community. And it's just that, and we said, even if Shannon and I is his name, Shannon and I'm Joel, even if our relationship is the only other male friendship guys see, like, hey, that might be good for them. Yeah. So that's the stretched thin podcast.
Yeah, where can people find that?
So you find that everywhere you stream podcasts. We've got a YouTube where we do the video. And Instagram as well, where we'll like share clips and stuff, but nice. It's everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Amazon. But yeah.
Sweet. Well, look, y'all check out the Stretched Thin podcast. Check out the Stay Project. Super important stuff. Joel, it's been fun, man.
I wish we could. I mean, we're both getting tired, but we definitely have to do this again, because this is now for you guys listening. This guy is an incredible podcaster. One of the best I've ever interacted with.
On.
Shut your mouth. Let me finish. Dude, you are just such a quality man, top to bottom. The way you love your wife, the way you interact and I would say love your guests, the way you just carry yourself. It's with grace, it's with humility, but it's also with a gusto that only comes from a secure identity. Like, dude, you're the real deal. You're gonna make me cry if you keep doing that. You're the real deal. And I am so happy that you are investing in yourself in this way and doing this podcast.
That's very kind of you to say, sir.
No one else could do this podcast as well as you.
I love my show. I love my wife. I love Christ, and I'm just interested in people, and I just have a good time with it, man. I don't know what to say to that. I'm sure.
Are we gonna hug on the podcast? We're both crying, hugging on the podcast. That's how we ended. I love it so much.
I'm an emotional guy. Like my tears come to the surface pretty easy for me.
That's great.
Always have.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, absolutely not. So that's very high praise, and I'm very humbled by it. And thank you. And We'll definitely do it again. This is the first mention of it, and it's not open to the public, but I'm just going to tell you, I've already got the venue, put it on your calendar. October 25th will be episode 100. I'm inviting every guest that's ever come on the show, and we will make episode 100 together, and there will be drinks, small bites. I'm hoping to have some live music. It'll be at Sawmill. Larkin Sawmill in Greenville. It's going to be a fantastic night. Or afternoon. It's going to be on Sunday afternoon. Smoke.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
Heck, yes.
No, I just got to get this show to grow, man. The big deal with podcasts is discoverability. That's really what and look, I'm not trying to, I don't puff myself up. You did that enough just 2 seconds ago. But I think I have a great show it's a quality. I think the content's very good. It's deep conversation. The room is great. It's just a matter of like.
No, you're already there.
Like
you have already have done the things you have to do to be a successful podcast. Is the quality, not just the content, the actual quality of the audio and video is a non-starter. If that's not there, no one's going to listen. It's there, and so it's already great. Then you add your great quality. But that only comes for being a great quality podcasting host. So like that's why it's quality. And I think the hard part is just you're going against a very difficult niche, which is long form podcasting.
Yeah.
And like that's why our podcast, like we'll go to an hour sometimes, but we try to keep it under because like technically anything more than 30 something minutes is long form. But like
we're knocking on 3 hours.
I can't who's gonna really watch this episode? Like it's so long. I mean you are.
I watch all my episodes.
But like 3 hours it's so hard. But once enough people find out like, oh my gosh, like I love hearing him talk to people. And I love the guests he has on. Like, yeah. You just need enough people to find it and share it, and then you'll blow up. It's so hard because it's long form. But I'll be praying.
That's where the magic is. I've said this on multiple podcasts.
I know.
Podcasts.
I agree.
You cannot get to know who Joel Conwell is and what he does in 30 minutes.
I know. I agree.
I agree. So the long form is where it's at, and I get it. We live in a microwave society that everybody wants everything in 5 minutes. But if you're going to get anything of substance, and you're going to figure out, why stay is important to you, and why marriage is important, and why, like, it takes time.
How many clips a day do you post?
Usually just one.
Every day from a podcast you're posting?
So the way I'm doing it now is, so your episode, like this coming Sunday's episode, I'll drop one Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This past Sundays gets a Tuesday, Thursday. So it's like I'm forward and backwards, and it's.
I mean, I'd hate to say
I probably
should
should
more
post
work.
more.
You look. I mean, the algorithm rewards consistency.
Yeah.
And if you posted a short every day of the week, of like, either it's I don't know, because I'm still trying to figure out, like, we don't know if it's better to post shorts from the episode that just aired. So like we post on Tuesdays. So is it better to go like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like Friday, and all of those are just from the episode? So be like, hey, the episode that's live Tuesday, you guys should listen to, because it's almost like you need to get people to listen.
Yeah,
because it's already live.
I do both. Like I said, so like
Tuesday, Thursday, you do looking forward.
Tuesday and Thursday, do looking backward. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, do looking forward.
Maybe switch
every week. I don't know.
I just want more people to watch it.
But the whole thing though is I'm not anti. I don't care.
I know you don't.
Because I do this for me.
I know.
and
I just want more people to see it.
Yeah, me too. All right, look. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you like the show, give it a follow. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it on your socials, and share it with the world, because Sunday Afternoon Smokes is really sweet. We'll see you soon.